wanna train the very best. There's no better team. I will battle every day. It's always been our dream. Pokémon!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the D-Pad. I'm Rick. This is Pokemon the Very Best, where we are once again trying to get STRATS the Rattata to level 100 on Route 1. Going no further than Route 1, I suppose, is the more correct description there. If I sound tired, it's because I am super tired. I just got back. Sarah and I both just got back 2 days ago from a week-long trip to Scotland, and the jet lag is fierce. So still recovering from that. Didn't get a lot of sleep because I had to get up early for work this morning, like earlier than usual. But we're surviving. So, as we are wont to do at the start of, let me see, is this the correct one? Let's find out. This will be, let me make sure that I'm not about to embarrass myself here, otherwise, no, I think this is all fine. Nope, wrong one. Okay. Hang on a second. Why is this doing this to me? We'll just drag these into that window then, I guess. Unless that window doesn't exist properly? That's weird. The tab that was just doing stuff there is just like, what if we don't? So you know what I'm going to do? Hang on one second. I will fix this on the fly here. Once I can find... I have too many windows. Far too many windows open on this computer. There we go. This is the one. All right. Let's see if this works. Yeah. All right, cool. So, we got the wrong tab, but that's an easy problem to fix. Here we go. Yes. So, I'm going to be... I have to clean this up in post. I don't know how I set this up for the first stream that made it work, or the second one that made it work so perfectly size-wise, but I haven't been able to get the size correct since, and I don't entirely know why, but I'll fix it in post. It's not a big deal. Yeah, so for each of these, if anybody hasn't been here for this before, we're answering a question for the eventual Generational Trauma series that I'll be doing next year sometime. But we got to pick a generation to be answering a question for. Last time I think we chose between Pokemon X and Y. This one is Gen 7, which I think is... that's Sun and Moon, right? Black and White. Yeah, there'll be Sun and Moon, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So let's see what we're answering tonight for a question. Oh, we're getting our first nickname? No, we're not. We're doing versions again. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so let me quickly do that. I'm also going to actually, no, we got enough time. Which Gen 7 version, that looks like it still fits. Yeah, all right, cool. And let me fix our poll thing. Is this the first one with 4? I think it's the first thing that we're going to have that's going to have 4 options here. Because technically... There we go. We got 4 of those right there. So... Oh, I should also be paying attention to... So the way that we're... Oh, Oh, and Radar. I see the votes in there. Prince Dusk, you had mentioned option 3. Would you like to retain that for Ultra Sun? I'll put the 100 in there for all right, cool. So both of you put in 100. Fantastic. Okay. Honestly, I think this is the right direction to take this anyway. I think Ultra is probably the better call, all in all. And if you've been around the channel for since that era of the games, then you'll know exactly why I've got such a strong opinion about that. We got one for Moon as well. And we're also about to get started on time. So, there we go. The time has begun. I guess I should address that real quick. So for anybody who was here last time or is keeping up with the VODs, right now the last VOD hasn't gone up yet, but if anyone's watching this after the fact, we had an internet outage during the last stream, which was pretty fucking annoying. And by outage, I mean we had quote-unquote scheduled maintenance, which, yeah. And it was scheduled, apparently, between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., so that kind of fucked up a lot of stuff there. So that wasn't great. I mean, I have the points. Yep, hell yeah, but I think I'll save it. Yeah, no, that's the thing. So that's part of why we're doing this setup. So if anybody's not familiar, you can use the D points, which is the automatically accruing kind of Twitch point thing system, because we don't have a whole lot else to use them for. You can use them to vote on any of these polls that we're doing. And I'm just realizing that I never actually made my Blue Sky post I was meaning to finish here. So I'll do that at the same time as this. Let's see. Let's just fix this real fast here. Of all the things that I fucked up preparing for that post, I didn't put the actual URL in there. Holy shit. Okay. Now we're good. This and this and this. Good. Okay, we're back now. But anyway, yeah, so because we don't have a whole lot else to use D points for, I decided that'd be a fun way to do the poll stuff for this. With the added caveat that, like, we're going to be doing dozens of these streams, so if you opt to dump all of your points early, then you may wind up later on being like, ooh, I kind of wish that I waited for the poll where we figure out what the Gen 9 nicknames are going to be for XYZ reason, So, I don't know. There's some strategy to it, I suppose. I don't know why I switched to quick attack on that one, just for yucks. Good evening. Oh, hey, Alexprit. I'm curious what the vibes are like here, but I might not chat much. Very podcasty vibes. Maybe a little bit, I don't know if I'd say aimless, but definitely a little bit more amorphous. We definitely have gotten into quite a lot of different topics already in just the 3 streams we've done so far. I think it's only been 3. I think this is number 4. And that's just kind of the broader vibe, is just kind of, whatever. Also, dang, double miss. Holy shit. That's a rare one. I wasn't even paying attention. Was that one also using tackle? So that'd be a 1 in 400-ish chance. And I say ish because the percentages are not exact in Gen 1. And I don't just mean the 100% moves, which tackle is not, but like all of the moves that have percentages are not... I don't even think in the game they tell you what your percentages are, but they're not exact percentages. Like tackle, which is, I want to say 95% accurate in this game, is not exactly 95%. It's close to that, because they are still working with binary numbers. And I don't even know if at least one of the odds that they use is like not even the nearest number. It's just a number that's vaguely nearby. Currently doing the egregious post-game and DLC grinds in Legend ZA. I don't know how far y'all are, so I don't wish to spoil, but it's bad. Yeah, no, I got that vibe off of Peter. He got through pretty much all of it reasonably well, and then it seemed like the end game was just... Sorry, the end game, post-game type situation was just a lot. Which is kind of a bummer, because, like, the pace of the game so far has been pretty breezy. A little bit brisk, not in the sense of like it's like whipping past. Like it does feel quick, but it's not like, you know, it's not like it's over in 3 hours or anything, but it has been moving. And then yeah, somewhere at the end of it all, it just kind of oh, whoops, I'm sorry. I did miss that you said ultra sun, not ultra moon. My bad. That is corrected now. Apologies. There you go. I'm just like scrolling through it real quick just to make sure that I didn't fuck anything else up here. Ultra Sun. Number 3. Okay, yes. All right, cool. Boop 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 boop. I always finish the Pokedex in every Pokemon game I play. I still have not done so in ZA's DLC. Everything up to the Dex completion was fine, but when you want to do it, then it's suddenly the worst thing I've ever done, you know? Yeah. Admittedly, even though the game is not, like, at least currently, explicitly telling me that I need to collect every Pokemon the same way Legends Arceus did, I've just been, you know, going, okay, each of the wild zones, I'm just going to catch everything that's there. Because that's at least a pretty decent chunk of getting that done, you know? There's no point to dupes, by the way. Just so you're clear there. All right, yeah. I mean, the dupe side of thing for me is usually just for the sake of going, like, living decks with it, but... yeah, I don't think... I don't know if there's any Pokemon game that actually cares about dupes. Oh, or do you mean that they don't do anything for you, like you can't sell them, you can't grind them up for candy, that sort of thing? Because that was a big thing for me with, oh yeah, catch a number of Mon research. That's a good point, actually, yeah. You can't grind them into Duster Kid. Damn! Oh, fuck. I was hoping there would be something. Whether it was like the candy system from Let's Go, or the different candy system from Legends Arceus, or the material system from Scarlet Violet. Dang. Legends Arceus loves duplicate catches, as does Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee. Yeah, no, 100%. Oh, that really blows, actually. Because it does also mean that like you're catching a lot of stuff for the like missions, and then you're just manually getting rid of them. And that's just kind of it. It's like, oh, that kind of feels weird. Dang. How many years until this stream series is over? My rough guess would be like... When I had set out to do it originally, I was hoping to do it in 1 year, and I don't think that's a super reasonable thing unless I start doubling up. Like, you know, random Fridays or Saturdays. I just like throwing down, which I'm not necessarily opposed to. I just don't think that I'd be able to keep up with the pace necessary to keep that to under a year. So my like, still fairly optimistic hope would be like a year and a half. But again, I mean, it depends on how long these streams go for each time. Like if 3-hour streams versus, 5 to 6 hour streams would be a pretty big difference. In terms of that. I mean, literally, one of those is essentially double the other, so. And it takes too long to release Pokemon. Oh, no. Oh, that's not good. Is there no, like, mass release option? Because I was kind of banking on that, too. Oh, boy. At least, I mean, it's good to know that we don't need dupes. Beyond catch blank number of blank type Pokemon and, split evolutionary trees and stuff like that. I wonder then, part of me is debating whether I would want to just get rid of even family line dupes just to keep the space open. I guess I don't have to, though. There is, but it's slower than Home or Legends Arceus. Jesus. How can that even be? That's so weird. Multi-select stuff should be so fast. We use a group Pokemon in a single box por ejemplo. Ejemplo? Yeah, totally. Ejemplo. Yeah, it's irritating. It's not super bad if you do it moderately often, though. But even right now, I think I've got 2 or even 3 boxes with stuff in it. So that's gonna be a whole thing. I think I've just like not released anyone because I don't feel like it. That's also totally fair. I arguably may not release anything until I absolutely have to. Though granted, if I'm doing missions that are like catch blank number of blank type Pokemon, that will eventually become necessary. Poor Aleppo for that capital of Syria. I don't know what the capital of Syria is. Yeah, I don't know. The capital of Syria is Damascus. Oh, whoop! There we go. Yeah, sorry, I was, quietly searching for that on the side. I didn't see that it was in the chat. What I ended up keeping was 2 of every species, not counting shinies and alphas. Yeah, I think like. Yeah, I don't know. I think at minimum I'm gonna want to keep 1 of each. Let's go with evolutionary terminus. Right? For most Pokemon lines, that'll just be 1, but, that would also mean Poliwrath and Politoed. That would also mean, like, I don't even know if they're in the game. I don't think they are, but, like, if it came up, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, Hitmontop, or all 8 evolutions, or something like that. No, that's fine. No judgment at all. I would not be able to remember that Aleppo's in Syria. The only non-scripted, and then after that, yes, shinies and alphas I would want to keep as well. Oh, good. Tonk, after we got back from Scotland, became very insistent on being a part of my day, every day at all times. She's currently, like, along my arm, and kneading into my arm, trying to find a comfortable place to sit. I'm sure this mic is about to get knocked out of my face. We're quite close to that moment. Yesterday, she spent pretty much the entire day attached to my shoulder. What's your opinion on visual novel games? I mean, that's a hard one to answer because it's sort of like saying, like, what's your opinion of mystery novels? Like, it's just a very broad sort of genre. It's almost not even a genre, but just it is strictly speaking more a gameplay mechanic than even a genre. But I like VN games. I haven't played all that many of them. The ones that come to mind. Oh my god, this cat is actively under the microphone and moving it. Jesus Christ. Okay, there you go. Go that way, please. VN games that I have played. I mean, we're currently playing some 999. 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 doors. Is that the order of those? I can never remember what the order of the nouns in that title are. Tonk is about to get excised from the room if she can't stop knocking my mic away or threatening to knock my drinks over. Okay, here we go. Yeah, visual novels. Persons, hours, doors. Oh, nice. Okay, I think I got that right. I already don't remember. I would argue that the Ace Attorney games also qualify. Like, they are only partly visual novels, but they are definitely they're in part visual. Like, the framing device for the game is essentially a visual novel, where the main gameplay mechanics are first half point and click adventure, second half. I don't actually know what you would call. I guess the interrogation and cross-examination and stuff like that is more in the realm of visual novel mechanics than anything else. So I guess it's still visual novel there. Ours Person's Doors. Post-game team for Z has Meganium, Chandelure, Lucario, Clefable, Garchomp, and the Event Mewtwo. Neato. That seems like a reasonably well-balanced team. Yeah, I don't see anything in there that's like standing out as like ridiculous or anything. All seems pretty good. Evidence gathering is point-and-click adventure. Yes, yeah, that's what I meant by the first half. Like, for all but like the first case in any given game, where before you get into the courtroom, you do your investigations, and those are point-and-click, and they're different forms of point-and-click depending on whether you're playing a Phoenix Wright / Apollo Justice game versus a Miles Edgeworth game, but they're all point-and-click ultimately. What other visual novels have I played? Actually struggling to think of some right now. I've wanted to try... I've heard Steins Gate is really good. And I have not actually sat down to play it. I have not played Doki Doki Literature Club, though I've seen quite a bit of video material about it. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't play it myself, in the sense that, like, well, one, I'm really glad that I didn't just up and stream it out of nowhere, because there's material in that would potentially put our Twitch standing at risk, because we are both not small enough to be able to guarantee that we wouldn't get noticed by the Twitch algorithm and mods for it, but we're also not big enough to be able to like push back if someone on the Twitch side got upset. You know what I mean? That Alpha Manectric I mentioned is my 30th unique shiny. Ooh, a shiny Alpha. Dang, very nice. Very, very nice. What other visual novels? I feel like ridiculous for not being able to think of more right now, because I've played more. Got a shiny Alpha 2. Mine's an Electros. Nice. I was very happy with Zaman. I liked. That is. Oh, for the Electros. Yeah. I thought you were saying the Manectric, which, like, I guess to be fair, that also means that you have a shiny Alpha Mega Evolvable Pokemon, which is pretty rad with the Manectric. I'm not a big fan of Manectric. I'm even less a fan of Mega Manectric, because I think it's just a silly looking Pokemon. But I digress. Shame Mega Manectric sucks both visually and gameplay wise. Yo, how does its stats change? Like, what is its stat layout on Mega Evolution? And yeah, I'm maybe it's pretty. I would have to. I mean, the list is way bigger now, but if I was making a list of like visuals of Mega Evolutions, Mega Manectric would have to be like a bottom 3 for me. So dopey looking. It really drives me nuts that it's basically just an anthropomorphized lightning bolt. High special attack, but it's not fast enough. Ugh. That is always kind of tricky with electric types. I feel like for electric types, they gotta be quick, or else they just don't have a lot going for them. Taking a swig of my coffee from this morning. Oh, I feel like I've left like 3 conversations we've already had on the floor, but a fun time with Mega Manectric and Radical Red, which is one of those crazy hard mode hacks. Yeah, I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it, to be honest. That poor moveset, I think. Again, I feel like some of that is also just electric types. I feel like electric types have like 4 moves that are actually worthwhile, and that's just it. I guess that's more out of the stab variety, to be fair, but like... at that point, you might as well use Mega Ampharos, which is only slightly weaker, way bulkier, and can do mixed attack stuff with Outrage. That's true. Also, the Dragon typing is really nice defensively. It's less insane now than it used to be, but having a defense against a bunch of the, like, what you might refer to as, like, base elemental types is pretty nice. I had a team of only bug types, and even on easy mode, a Mega Man Electric was able to outspeed and one-shot every single member of my team. Oh, no. Oof. That's pretty rough. That is very rough. Shame Fairy is the best type in the game by a mile. Yeah. Yeah, they really kind of... brought in a snake to deal with the mouse problem with that whole thing. Like, the whole goal was, Dragon type is too powerful. We must find ways to bring it down. And so they had Steel type to resist it, if I recall correctly. And now Fairy type that is both super effective against it and also immune to its attacks. And it's like, oh boy, that is quite a lot. And also it's just Fairy type moves seem very good. They kind of... It's so weird. In some ways, it's like they accidentally recreated a like OG Psychic type, and they made it really good against Dragon. And it's like, uh-oh. They needed a Dragon immunity because otherwise Outrage is way too safe and powerful. Moonblast is definitely very... Yeah, Moonblast is... Moonblast it feels like the Thunderbolt of the... maybe not Thunderbolt. We'll go... Flamethrower, I guess, of the modern age in Pokemon, and by modern I mean the last decade. It's just so good. It's just so good, and it's a type that makes going up against historically good types easier. So I'm curious. That does feel ironically like the next thing they're going to have to do is find a way to either nerf or, combat Fairy types a little bit. Fairy modern games kind of feels like Dragon in Gen 5. Very similar, no really powerful resist, lots of coverage, etc., etc., etc. Fairy was also intended to weaken fighting, though, because fighting was way too fucking much in Gen 5. Did Gen 5, I remember some of the individual mons that they brought, because that's Gen 5, I think, is where like Sock and Throw and stuff came in, and is fighting type shared among the Musketeers, or is it just the one? Was it it is all of them. Okay, yeah. So that's already like giving a lot more attention to fighting type than it usually is familiar with. Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Psychic, and Ice Beam roll 90 power, 10% chance for an effect. Moonblast is 95 power, the 30%. Oh, so it's just objectively better than all four of those. That's amazing. My comparison I was going for was a little bit more rhetorical and metaphorical in terms of just like utility, which is why I switched from Thunderbolt to Flamethrower, because I feel like Flamethrower probably has better type coverage for like weaknesses. That might not actually be true. Fire is good against what? Bug, ice, grass. I mean, now steel. So that's 4 types. Thunderbolt would have been good for water and flying. Ice Beam would be good for dragon, flying, ground. I think that might be it. And then Psychic would be good for what? Fighting. Psychic can't possibly only be super effective against fighting, right? Am I forgetting something, like, fully at this point? Oh, and Poison. Thank you, yes. I was like, I'm forgetting something. Yeah. But that does mean that Flamethrower is the most, the most type effective of them. And as a bonus, Grass and Bug especially early game, is those are some pretty common types. Grass bug, ice. Steel. Yeah, fighting was very strong because it was strong against steel, dark, and rock. Yep. If a new type was immune to fairy, I think water would become the best type, or maybe ghost. Those are kind of tricky. Those are tricky ones. I feel like ghost is in such a weird place that it's really hard, especially nowadays, for that to be the best type. Ghost being weak to ghost feels like a really big pitfall. Not that it stopped dragon for a while, but that's because it just didn't have, non-set damage moves for a bit. Water is an interesting one. Yeah, Ghost nowadays is also quite a bit better than it used to be, which is good. Water's an interesting one. I feel like water is a very, sturdy and reliable type, but it never strikes me as being, a best type, situation. Psychic is not a good type anymore. Yeah, no. It used to be. I mean, part of why it was a good type was because it was just literally busted in this game, in this gen. In the sense that it was straight up coded wrong. And for a while, I feel like they were still going off of essentially almost every mythical was psychic type, and a lot of legendaries were too. So they just kept piling on more psychic stuff. Nowadays, it's way less of a thing, which is good. The other thing that Fairy does is hugely buff poison and significantly offensively buff steel too. I guess that's true. Yeah, poison was awful pre-Gen 6. Yeah, no, that is definitely true. Poison felt like a mostly useless type. The best you could get out of poison a lot of times was just toxic. Poison has definitely improved a lot. I'm actually very excited to eventually get into. I've never played Black 2 or White 2 before, and I'm just very intrigued by a lot of the things there. The winterizing of Unova, the poison gym leader that is there, just because I feel like poison doesn't get a lot of gym leaders. I feel like that's a less common one, as opposed to rock and fire that are in almost every gen. And by almost every gen, I'm gonna jump ahead of this one. For argument's sake, let's just mush Gen 1 and 2 together, since the entire premise of the gym leaders of Johto are that they are 8 of the, at the time, 9 types that were not represented in Kanto gym leaders. Whereas the rest of the series doesn't really do that. So if you just mush them together into a broader Indigo League, you'll have a better representation of how stuff changes there. Even normals being immune, even in a Terra meta. Right now, Sneasler is running Wild and Champion, so Fairy types are at their weakest ever. Okay, and Psychics are at their strongest since Gen 1. Interesting. Interesting. Even with the Sneasler? The Sneasler. I can't not... Sneasler still feels like a Dr. Seuss character to me. I think that's why I keep thinking of it as the Sneasler. It reminds me of, the Onceler, See, I can't think of any Poison Gym leaders besides Koga and Roxy. Poison didn't even have a trial in Gen 7. You just got the Z Crystal in the post game. That's true. It's a good point. There is, in in the same way that it's weird to gauge Gens 1 and 2, it's also weird to gauge Gen 9? Is 9 Scarlet and Violet? Yeah, 9 is Scarlet and Violet. Just because the way that the game was set up between the Star Trial, like the Star Road, I don't remember the name of the missions, like the 3 different things, but you've got your gym leaders, you've got your Team Star stuff, and you've got your big boy Pokemon. I believe they cover all 18 types through that, so it's a little hard to gauge off of that too. But yeah, no, my thought there, that was what I was like, I remember there was the ninja dude who had a goopy outfit, and I think his role was designing the outfits. Koga and Janine, Nothing in Ho and Sinnoh, Roxy and Unova 2, No and Kalos. I think Plumeria is the main Alola poison user. Clara is a rival in Sword only. Oh, I forgot about that, yeah. And the poison rep is Atticus. Yes. Not even sure why Sneasel is so dominating. It's easy to see why it's good. I can't figure out why it's this good. Sun and Moon also is a specialist of every type except for Ice. Oh, I guess that's fair. Yeah, like if we're including totem Pokemon and stuff like that too. It's fast and Poison Psychic is a strong attacking combo. Oh no, people. Were there? Because you've got your 4 Kahunas and your 4 Elite Four, which includes 1 Kahuna and 1 Gym Leader, I think. And 2 who weren't either. Because I know the first one, which I think is Haka, is also a member of the Elite Four. I remember there was the golfer who was not a Kahuna or a trial captain. I don't remember who the other members of the Elite Four were. You don't have to include Totem Poke. Yeah. Except Ice is still. I'm not versed in post Gen 7 meta, but I assume it's what Kolak said. All right, and I assume it gets Fake Out, which is invaluable in doubles. Even better, it has upper hand to cancel enemy Fake Outs. Jeez. God damn, I have not touched champions yet, so. Trial captains lead their trials to the totems of their types too. Oh, I guess that's a fair point. Yeah, that's fair enough. Let's get back and heal. Because we've only got 1 attacking move left. I haven't mentioned. I mean, we're in it right now. You can see it, but we're doing a Cacnea stream because I both look and feel like complete shit at the moment. Just in terms of I still am horribly jet lagged. I haven't caught up on sleep. I look like someone's punched me in both eyes at the moment, so I'm just like, let's not tonight. I'm looking forward, though, to having the camera back on Wednesday, where I believe we're going to be, not only are we going to be getting into Metroid some more, but in our mailbox right now, I believe, is our recordable 3DS, which has allegedly been repaired. I have not tested it yet, so technically this isn't a full proper promise, but assuming things work tomorrow when I plug everything in, then we'll be switching back to Metroid Prime Hunters, because that game is very short, and we are almost certainly only going to need 2 streams to get through what's left of that game, and then we'll be back to Prime 3 to wrap that one up. We're probably like, I don't know, 3-ish streams away from the end of Metroid Prime 3 as well. I say with no real reason. I'm realizing, like, there could be a ton of shit left in that game. I still have to do the hunt for all of our, like, collectible shit, too, so. Okay. I'm also horrendously tired. I didn't sleep great either the night we got back or last night. I think I woke up around 6 a.m. both days, which is great. So I'm doing what I can to boost my my caffeine and such for a little bit. Which normally I'd be like, ooh, that's a dangerous idea this time of night. I will have no fucking problem going to sleep tonight. That'll be easy. What else? I feel like there was like one other thing that I wanted to mention at the top, and I've forgotten. I guess we did talk about Metroid. That was something I wanted to make sure that I mentioned there. Oh, I'm so irritated. I was hoping to have a new series go up starting today, like a new Let's Play series that had like a live intro and everything, and my D drive started acting funky, and the end result after all of that was that it just kind of stopped responding altogether. And then when I rebooted the computer, it did the like, oh, we're scanning your D drive and trying to repair it. This will take, 5 minutes, an hour, 5 hours, 10, 20 hours. And I was like, oh, God, all right. And sometime between when I checked on it at 6:30 upon getting up this morning and when I actually physically came down here at 7:30 in the morning, it finished that process. And the D drive is just not showing up now at all. Some folks have said that unplugging and replugging the hard drive literally is all it takes to get it to wake it back up. I sure hope that's the case, because I'll be real fucking sad if that drive is dead. I don't think there's anything like hypercritical on there, but we definitely have stuff that's on there. I bought ZA and the DLC to finally complete my National Living Dex. There were 5 Pokemon left. I'm at hour 30. I've caught one of them. Jeez. Holy cow. I'm getting flashbacks to filling out the Pokedex in Legends Arceus when it came time to get like a Pichu. That shit was not fun. Most of the rest of the Pokedex filling was generally fine. Baby Pokemon were a fucking nightmare. That shit was real bad. The event DNC does not require completing the DLC, so it's the only one I have. Oh, hilarious. Yeah, the problem is just that a lot of it's RNG, and at least for things like Arceus, you can reset the area and keep on trying stubbornly if you want. Yeah. Which is ultimately, I think, what we did. Which was really not great TV. It's, I think, for sure one of the more uniquely not viewer-friendly series we've done in a very long time. I say doing what is certainly an even viewer-unfriendlier thing right now. I have a good night, Alex Nuzlocker. Thanks for stopping in. But in ZA's DLC, the issue is you need to play the game to earn your chance to get the Mons. Oh, no. That's worrisome. Essentially getting points to get the right to open up a portal, and if you're lucky, it'll have the thing you want. If you aren't, oh my god, then go back and work another half hour or so to open up the next one. Oh, Jesus. Well, we'll see what happens with this whole Mega Dimension thing, because my only real goal with ZA is to just beat all of it. Beat the main game, beat the post game, beat the DLC. Whatever beat means for a given thing. I am not that concerned with 100%ing the game, even though, now that I think about it, the last two non-padlock Pokemon games that I have played on the channel, or the last two that I've started on the channel, have both ultimately been 100%ing games, right? Because we did Pokemon Legends Arceus, which it required 100% Pokedex completion in order to get to Arceus, so I just did a living dex there. And then Scarlet and Violet, which absolutely does not care about living dex or complete dex stuff beyond, like, in-game rewards, and I did that anyway. It's the TDM of the post-game grind. Yeah, I don't know how much of that we'll wind up doing. I don't really know off the top of my head, because it's like, on the one hand, it is the DLC, but on the other hand, if it's not for anything other than, like, a shiny charm type situation, then, and there's not, like, plot directly related to it, then there's not a lot of reason for us to focus that much on it, especially if it's a huge RNG crapshoot. I can tell I'm super tired because I have to actually focus on the words I'm saying a little bit to enunciate them properly. Because if I don't, I'll probably just start talking like this, and then it's going to get really, like, blurry and a little hard to understand. So if I just kind of go like this, then it's not really going to be very good. Kind of stumbling over my words a little bit, and I just kind of am listing off if I don't, you know. So I'm gonna spend the mental energy. I'm gonna spend a spoon on making sure that I am comprehensible. Otherwise, this is going to make for a pretty bad time for everybody, myself included. Oh, thank you for the sub, Joe. Hell yeah, 85 months. I gotta figure out some kind of cool thing to do for when you guys start hitting like 100. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I feel like there should be something. I'm trying to remember at what point we got started on Twitch in the first place. I want to say it was like 2017-ish, but I don't remember for certain off the top of my head. Because I think for a while we were streaming on YouTube before we moved to Twitch. And I don't remember at what point that happened. Because I think like the... Actually, is that even true? Because I'm thinking back to like the Super Mario World stream and the original Splatoon stream, that doomed horrible stream. And I'm trying to remember if those were YouTube or Twitch, and I don't remember off the top of my head. I streamed Celeste on YouTube. Did I really? Dang. What a mistake that was. Would have been way more visible if we did that on Twitch. Damn. I know that at least some of Pokemon Yellow was on YouTube. But yeah, I don't remember at what point the switch happened then. Yeah, blanking. I don't know. Ooh. Oh, my foot. Holy shit. So, at some point, years ago now, because I remember distinctly this was something that happened at the old apartment, but I developed, and I don't know if this is a chronic thing or a whatever the word that means not chronic is. I don't remember the term off the top of my head. But at some point I wound up with, I guess acute. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, acute symptoms as opposed to chronic symptoms. I definitely developed some plantar fasciitis, which sounds like, to me, that always comes off as such a gross term, and I think that's because my brain conflates that with like plantar warts, which are a different thing. But it's the swelling, I assume, of the plantar fascia, which is a little spot, I think, in like the back of your heel. But if I bump the back of my foot to the back of my heel against anything with like any amount of pressure at all, it absolutely hurts like shit. the solution for this at one point, and I'll probably be trying this again now, is for me anyway, it was just using compression socks for like a couple days, and it just kind of slowly went away. But holy fuck, does it not feel good to bump that shit. Especially I'm not wearing like socks or anything that would protect it, so. If you had streamed Celeste on Twitch, you'd already be a transgender cat girl addicted to caffeine by now. I mean, I'm one of those things. Out of that list, I'm at least one of those things. And it's up to you to decide. That's how the poll just switches. Which of these things applies? In fairness, I've already given away the game on that one by describing how I'm plowing through tonight. And you're right. It's because I'm a cat girl now. That's actually it. That process is what's keeping me going. I do have a cat girl on my shoulder. Tonk is being very well behaved now. You're addicted to girls. I guess by certain definitions, that seems like more of a Joe Cat thing, but I don't know a lot about what happened there, by the way. Luke says Celeste was streamed on Twitch. Oh, okay. Alrighty then. But yeah. Was the situation with Joe Cat literally that he did the like, yeah, I like girls thing, and then people just got weird about it or something? I'm unclear if there was more to it, or if it was just people being weird about something frankly, honestly, pretty normal. But again, I don't know if I'm missing a piece of that, you know? Looks like Wonder Boy and Monster was the first Twitch stream. That does sound like something I would do, because that would have been a great chance for me to test, to like kind of kick the tires and test that out. Like, hey, here's a 5-ish hour game that I could do in one sitting. And it would be a great way for me to make sure that mechanically all this is set up correctly. Followed by Rechain of Memories as the first Twitch stream series. Okay. He made a cute animatic of himself being straight, and people called him gay for it. Yeah, I thought it... So, alright, so I'm not completely insane, because I was like... I remember the video. Someone made a fun yes. Oh, that was him that made the animatic himself. Okay. But yeah, I remember the animatic. I thought, oh, that's fun. And then suddenly, like, I don't know, a couple of weeks later, everyone was being very not super normal about any of that. And I was like, whoa, huh? Like, that seemed kind of strange. Sorry, my phone just decided to light up for no reason at all. And I was like, oh, did I get a new notification? No. I'm like, oh. Okay. All right. Throw on some 100 votes for Ultra Moon. Got it. Let me add that right now. This is still not an automated process for me. I'll figure something out for this down the line, but if I miss someone placing votes, please let me know, because right now what I'm seeing on my TV is literally the game side by side with the stream layout. And so I see your messages the same way you see them in the stream right now, but as you can see, the votes are not included in the stream text because of the limitations of the Twitch IRC chat viewer, thing. All right, 100 from Joe for Ultra Moon. I think if we ever wind up with a tie on one of these, we will probably just spin. We'll just make a wheel and spin it to decide, just because we're already using wheels for everything else for this anyway. But An additional 10 for Ultra Moon. Ooh, pulling ahead. Didn't you wind up putting in votes to put something ahead by 10 previously, like in stream number 2 or something? Because what do we have? Stream number 1, I believe the poll was which... Oh, it actually might have been stream 1 now that I think about it. Stream 1 was which version of Gen 1 would we do, and I think Blue won for that one. By not much. Yeah, it sure feels like a lifetime ago, that's for goddamn sure. The second stream, I think, was Gen 4 starters. And I want to say we ended up with Turtwig. I did write these down, so even if I guess, and I guess incorrectly right now, I do have them written down. Obviously, we also have the stream VODs themselves to refer back to as well. And then last time we did which Gen 6 version are we going to do, and I want to say that Pokemon Y won on that one. All right, level 31. Huh? Strat stopped evolving. And now I get this one. So we're starting to get a loose shape so far. We haven't gotten any repeats of generations yet. I mean, in stream 1, I made it be that we were talking Gen 1. But then we did Gen 4, Gen 6, and now Gen 7. I'll be curious to see how this shakes out. So some people were like, this is degenerate, you should not be submissive, that's gay. And some people were like, this is problematic, you should not like girls too much. Oh boy, that sure sounds like a nobody can be made happy scenario. Yikes. Yeesh. That sucks. That sucks a lot. It's already fucking, like, there's a lot that I feel like I have evolved on, opinion-wise, since this YouTube channel first came into being. But, like, one of the things that I have very much changed my mind on over time is it's fucking silly to judge anybody by anything that they like, so long as the thing they like is, like, a legal thing to like. Probably isn't great if you love murder. But, like, anything that you enjoy, like, fuck it, man. Life is short, cosmically speaking, anyway. You know, it's stupid as fuck to hold someone's, enjoyment against them. What did 2016 Rick think about being gay? We may never know. There's a cream for that. Ah, no, that's not even 2008. I was about to say that's 2008 Rick, but it's not. That's 2008 Alex LaFerrier. Oh, I feel so silly. So, there is a skit that was recorded at the Mario Party Mansion at PAX East 2026 that involved we did some live shooting of stuff. I think we did it all with my camera. Actually, did we, or did we do a different thing? I forget. I feel bad, one, because I did not have a free SD card, so I think we did all of our recording through my Elgato, so it's all crunched down into 1080p to start with, which is sort of a bummer. I'll be better prepared the next time we do one of these. We were actually looking into doing something potentially this summer. That one's probably not going to happen, but we are looking to do something around Extra Life time period this year later on, and I'll be a little bit more prepared for that. But in doing those, there were roles for 3 of us that were also present with scripts and everything, and I don't even know how the fuck it happened, but it was like, okay, so here's your line. To me, it's the first line I've got, and I delivered it, and it was straight up just Matt Hyland again, and I'm like, uh-oh, how did that happen? I was gonna say summoned. That's not the right word. Embodied. That's not really right either. It's sort of like channeled is probably right. I was gonna say it's like summoning through yourself. Channeling would be it. Yeah, I basically just channeled something remote out of the ether. It's not even like it was something that came up in conversation, but we recorded that shit in 2008 and 2009. It is now 2026, and that shit just like whoop, we're back in. And I'm like, whoa, okay. It was kind of eerie in its own way. Main approach for a while has been you do you as long as you don't force me into it and accept possible consequences. Yeah, I'd say that's generally pretty spot on. Which covers a lot of extra bases too, which is nice. Including my personal favorite is anybody that labels themselves like a free speech absolutist. That shit drives me nuts. Because on the one hand, I do agree with the sentiment of like, yeah, people should generally, big ol' asterisk on there, but generally be able to just kind of say what they want. However, the flip side to that is, if you start saying shit, there's certain things that are gonna like bring consequences to you. Perhaps not in the like legal sense. Like, generally speaking, I don't think that people should like go to jail for having said something. However, there's caveats of stuff like, you know, and this is pretty boring legal shit essentially, but like, yeah, defamation should probably be like a thing that carries consequences, and harassment and noise complaints and all of that stuff. But it drives me nuts when people say stuff, especially online. This doesn't really apply much to in person. It sort of does, but it's not really the same. But like, if you're on Blue Sky and you say stuff and it gets you banned off of Blue Sky, you don't really get to turn around and be like, one, if you got banned from Blue Sky, sorry, they have a terms of service and you violated it, which does include usually almost any platform on the internet that has conditional access has a line in its term of service that's like, we can just decide to cut you off. We don't even have to tell you why. We can just decide to do it. Which sounds shitty, but honestly, it's a very necessary loophole to have. Because otherwise, you leave yourself open to the sovereign citizen type people who try to rules lawyer you into saying, well, see, you can't do that. It's stupid. Point is, if you get yourself banned from a social media platform, that's usually already covered anyway. And the other one being, ironically, this is one that's come up with Alex Yard a few times, is when someone starts complaining that you're trying to silence them by confronting them on any level whatsoever, which is goofy as shit in like 7 different ways. Not the least of which is, if someone is not actively trying to get, say, your account banned, your channel struck, etc., there's no silencing happening. Like, you can just keep talking, but what you're unhappy with is that you said something and people got upset and now they're overwhelming you in the other direction. Like, maybe you shouldn't have said that thing if this was going to be such an issue for you, you know? Question about marathon streams. Do you plan on all marathon streams in the future being multi-game streams, or do you ever think you might do one long game again? No, I think I think that it could be either. I will say kind of up front, there is no current plan to have marathon streams be exclusively multi-game streams going forward. It's a format we've experimented with here and there. Honestly, I think minus the weirdness with getting Archipelago properly set up, I think this was this, for those watching the VOD, this being the 15th anniversary stream we just did. It's been a while. That one I think is probably the smoothest marathon stream we've ever had in terms of keeping shit moving, not having dead air, having both enough material to last and also having stuff to keep it moving in between things. Oh, thank you, Games Jake TTV. I'll get to that one in 1 second. But yeah, no, I think to a certain extent, It's Been a While wound up being a really, really, really good, I think, step forward in terms of the variety stream flavor. Just comparing to the other variety stream type ones we've done, I think it was just the one that worked out the best in terms of like all the producer level stuff. Again, minus Archipelago, and that was kind of more like that was always going to be guesswork. I'm still working on getting into the VODs, so there may be other technical things going on there that like I'm less aware of, like at time of streaming. But yeah, no, we're certainly open to doing single games again. I would say what the next one is, but we're about to hit 10 hours in this thing here. Can we get 13, 16 in time? Probably not. Yeah, we land the hit right at 10 hours. But so you're just saying that because you made a bunch of sleep-deprived people play a game show. Yeah, that was something that I feel like I should have recognized. So, I'm trying to remember if it was Jeff or Dave. Somebody, when we were kind of planning the order like a week-ish before, because we didn't figure out what order we wanted to do things until pretty late in the game. Mostly because like Archipelago was going to depend a lot on who was around for how long, how committedly, and what the state of remote participants was going to be. So one of the big aspects for this anniversary stream in particular, because it was kind of feeling more like I almost went with the theme instead of the It's Been a While thing. The title was almost going to be, let me see if I can remember the whole thing. It's Been a While, the D-Pad 15th anniversary reunion stream, I think was the original title that I had for it. And the aesthetic was going to be more like yearbook-like. Because a big part of it was with it being our second, like, major milestone stream. You know what? I'll say third. I was only thinking of the 10th anniversary one, but, like, realistically, I would also include our 10,000 subscriber stream as being a major milestone one. Because that was a big deal to us at the time. It's still a big deal now. We haven't hit 20K yet. We will hit 20K. Like the only way we wouldn't hit 20K would be if I just kind of stopped making content altogether. It's happening slowly, but like we'll get there. Or I'll put out another super hit video where we're due. This year is the 10th anniversary of the Michael Jackson video. And I've got like 3 or 4 pretty sizable videos that I'm working on right now, all for this year. So who knows? But why did I get into the like theme though? I'm trying to think why I got into. Was it because of remote participants? Because like the idea was I was getting a hold of like everybody to see who was going to be available to be here in person or be in remotely. And there were a few folks who were planning on showing up in person who ultimately couldn't at the last second. Like I think Ben was originally actually going to be there, and then day of was like, I have such a headache right now, I don't think I can actually swing this. Meg was actually talking about coming as well, which like that was a huge surprise to me because Meg, I messaged her, I included her in I don't know if I messaged her one-on-one. I included her in kind of a big group message thing. partly, I mean, one, because, you know, she was part of the channel for a long time there. And two is just like, I don't want anybody feeling like I left them out of this. There's nobody like that I would just be like, you know, fuck no, anything like that. I was like, all right, let's reach out. And then she was like strangely, vocalizing of like, ooh, okay, do you guys still have the apartment back in Somerville, or did you move, or what's that? Like, oh, we're asking like lightly probing I might be there questions. And she did wind up mentioning the week going in that she was thinking about trying to get in there, and then she wound up being also busy, which does not surprise me. She has a ton of stuff going on out in the real world these days. She does a lot of like art shows and like art management stuff, which is pretty cool. But yeah, when we were planning, I guess the main thrust that we were getting into there, when we were planning the order of things for this for the stream, the push that was made, or the pitch rather, that was made to me was we should end on the game show. Like that's like a high point to end on, which I did push back on that a little bit, partly because I think because I was doing the math on interstitials and I realized that there was going to be like one at the end, and I was like, okay, that might complicate this a little bit. And then there was also, I was also a little iffy on like, so what people are going to see is going to be half of a game show, and in the VOD it's going to be like edited differently anyway. So like maybe we shouldn't end on that. I do slightly wish that we didn't do that. Partly be like, for one, because folks were tired, and I totally get that. I was exhausted at that point too. So I'm sure there were folks who, with a more awake brain, would have done considerably better there. But also just like, I don't know, it's tricky. That would have had to be like basically the first thing we did to make that work logistically, I think, if we weren't going to do it later. And maybe that's what we should have done. Maybe we should have done the game show immediately, and then either gone into Quiplash or done the rest of it and ended with Quiplash, or maybe we end with Archipelago, and that way, you know, we essentially, once we start, we're in it till we hit 24 hours, though I think we hit like 27 hours or something. So there were a lot of like, There were a few bits that were a little bit off there, but I think broadly speaking, I think we did pretty well on the planning side of those. But yeah, no, there's definitely room for more single game marathon streams. I know that one that I have been very interested in for a while, and I know Sarah has too, is doing a Banjo-Tooie marathon stream. And that's one that, unlike Banjo-Kazooie, I think we would have to do as its own thing, just because the scope of it and the scale of it is so much larger than the first Banjo game. Like, even if you just look up, I don't put a huge amount of stock in How Long to Beat. It's a great idea, but you're both relying on, one, a very large sample size of people to be like a meaningful number. Two, you're also relying on people being honest and accurate with their numbers, which there's definitely some in there that is not the case. I think, like, law of averages wise, you get a decent sense of like how those numbers work out on that site, and you're like, okay, people are generally pretty honest and accurate. There's people who are like, you know, there's a reasonable amount of people that are on there that submit their stuff, so like you kind of figure out how that works eventually. But yeah, I would say that that's one that has definitely crossed our minds as a potential marathon stream game. And depending on how things go this year, maybe that'll just be maybe that will be our Extra Life game this year. Like, maybe we will opt for something a little on the simpler side structurally. We've done a lot of variety shows in a row. Actually, that's not even entirely true. That's not really true, because I keep forgetting that Majora's Marathon was an anniversary stream. That was the 14th anniversary stream. Outside of that, we've done a lot of variety shows in a row for the marathon streams. And fun as it is to have different stuff to do at various points during the thing, sometimes it's also just nice to just have one focus and just kind of push through it. Because then if we have the one thing, we can focus on all the other stuff instead. I want to shake up our donation incentives. The cupcakes have been fun, but it's always a little tough to gauge how many people are going to be interested in doing that, both on our side as participants and on the audience side in terms of like donations and stuff. One or two of the times we've basically eaten all of the cupcakes, and then one or two of the times they've barely gotten cracked into at all. So there's some balance to be found there. I have an idea for a twist on the usual cupcake thing that we may do at some point. I don't know that we're going to do it this year. We may take a break from that type of thing altogether. But we'll have to come up with some really good donation incentives to cover for it, because I think the cupcakes have generally been our most directly successful donation incentive that we've had thus far. The only thing that even come close are, like, I don't know, stickers on Jeff's face and the squirt gun. Still vote for doing one of the 4-player Mario platforms as a marathon stream. That's also crossed my mind. Less Mario Wonder, though that's certainly an option, and more like New Super Mario Bros. U or something like that, like one of the New Super Mario Bros. Games, or multiple, but probably one, maybe two. Just because, 4-player stuff is always good, though that does mean a lot of player commitment over the course of 24 hours. But also, especially for the original one, I don't know if it held through for the later ones, but one of the biggest gripes people have with the original New Super Mario Brothers is the fact that all 4 players take up physical space, so it's very easy to bump others or yourself off of platforms, which is a great comedy jumping point. Imagine being the opposing trainers against me in CA. Imagine you were doing recreational battling, then fucking Mewtwo sneaks up behind you and kills your Pokemon. Yeah. That'd be a pretty bad time. I believe you if you say you are pro-free speech, if you can say it to the face of the big buff guy with the opposing view. Oh, yep. Circling back to that a little bit. And, like, I believe... I would say that also excludes people who actively rage bait or actively... I don't know how to say it other than just bait, like confrontation bait. Like, there are... This is fortunately way less of a problem these days, but there was an era on YouTube, like 10 years ago, basically, where folks would be like, "Can I survive 3 hours in the hood?" And then they'll go up to, like, a group of black guys just hanging out, and they'll say some heinous shit because their fucking douchebag, buddy has their camera out, either across the street or whatever, like, secret candid cam, whatever type shit, and they'd say something really gnarly, and these guys would get pissed off, justifiably so. And hooray, content. It's like, oh god. I feel less I believe less that anyone like that is actually thinking in terms of, free speech, I should be able to say what I want, versus I'm gonna say the thing and it's going to get me views. You know what I mean? But yeah, and let's see here. Random question: when you consider doing a Mega Man fan game in the Mega Let's Play if someone in the D-Pad community made one? Yeah, totally. We have already done a few fan games. Actually, we've done quite a few fan games now in the Mega Let's Play. I was thinking of Mega Man 2.5D. I don't know why. I guess I call it that because that's how it's written, but it is like 2.5D. I think is probably the more common way to say that. But we played that ages ago. We also played I think Rockman 7 and 8 FC the D-makes of 7 and 8. We played Mega Mari and Rosenkreuz Stilett, which are less... I guess they are fan games. They are... actually, is Mega Mari a fan? Mega Mari might be an official Toho product. I don't remember off the top of my head. Rosenkreuz Stilett, though, is a fan production, if I recall correctly. But yeah, we've done it. We've done a handful of fan games for Mega Man specifically, or Mega Man likes. We haven't played, other than randomizers, I don't think we've played any fan games for Zelda. We have not played any fan games for Kirby. Oh no, we have. I was going to say we haven't played any fan games for Sonic, but we have, because we've done Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit. We've done Sonic Omens, which was bad. That Tails level was fucking terrible, in particular. We've done Sonic and the Fallen Star? Is that the name of it? I was super excited for, what was it, Sonic and the Moon Colony? Sonic and the Moon something? And then the product, and it's... Okay, I think we're back. Yes, thank you. I noticed, I saw the original message about, did Rick's mic just break? And turns out I forgot to have the MacBook plugged in. So it just ran out of battery, but we're back. So that's fun. But yes, I don't know where I got cut off, but we've done, Sonic Omens, Sonic and the Falling Star, Sonic... Triple Trouble 16-bit. I was sad about Sonic and the Moon something because that was from the Falling Star folks, and I loved the art style and the music for that game. And then Zelda fan games. Why am I blanking on Zelda fan games? I don't remember. I don't remember doing a Zelda fan game. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with it. Oh, you're right. Oh my god, Dungeons of Infinity. You're totally right. Yeah, the Link to the Past roguelike that ended in a boss that took away all of your stuff and killed you in 5 seconds. Oh, it's definitely been updated. There was a lot of I joined their Discord just to jump in on that particular conversation. Yes, it's been updated. The worst thing was getting to the boss and having a decent idea of how to actually beat the boss, but not being interested in spending another 4.5 hours getting there, you know? They took his... Excuse me. Oh yeah, also, I think I mentioned this in the Discord. Speaking of the Scottish laptop, while on a train from Edinburgh to from a train from Inverness to Edinburgh, I spilled Iron Brew on my MacBook, so now it is a proper MacBook. Also, the MacBook seems fine. I didn't spill much. It was just enough for me to go like, ah, and like, you know, sop it up. There's a hair in my mouth. Ugh. Oh, I hate that. Meh. The most disappointing thing about Dungeons of Infinity, at least at the time, was that most of the game was like at least vaguely interesting. There was some late game stuff that was not good. Like, oh, here's a bomb tunnel maze where you almost certainly will not have enough bombs unless you memorize the path through here. That one was not super fun. I would have won, not gonna lie, I never saw this. Yeah, it was a one-off stream. I was too pissed off at the ending to want to touch it again. I think I'm still kind of in that zone. Like, it could be, my understanding is it's better now, but I'm still like, that's fine. I'm not really interested in playing again. I gave it my, 4 or 5 hours, and that's all that I feel it really needs from me. Trying to shift in place, but Tonk is like wedged between me and the couch now. There we go. That'll do for now. I have never sat up more straight in my entire life. I've got the most incredible posture ever known to man. Just seems baffling to make the finale of a roguelike completely ignore all the choices you made. Yeah, 100%. The defense of that choice was apparently that, like, there are several roguelikes that do that move in spirit, whether they do it literally or not, which I also don't agree with. And the number one complaint that I saw, including from myself and others, was like, hey, so the whole point of a roguelike is that you make choices in order to get somewhere. Generally speaking, in a roguelike, the entire idea of how to wrap up that is to see how your build fares against whatever the final boss of the game is. And doing the opposite would be like playing Hades, and then at the very end you just lose all of your shit and you do a sword fight. Like, doesn't make sense. I think the other major pushback from the dev on it was that it would be very difficult to program Aghanim to respond to every different kind of item or weapon or piece of equipment in the game, which is an interesting thing to say for a number of reasons. One, tough? Question mark. You're making a game. Finish making the game. 2, all of the items you can use already have ways that they interact with Aghanim in the original Link to the Past. So you're not exactly inventing new shit to have happen here. And 3, you kind of circle back to number 1, like, tough. That's how roguelikes work. Like, sure, it'll probably take some time. Take the time and do it. Like, finish your game. I don't know. I feel for the dev in the sense of, like, yeah, that is probably a shitload of work. That's probably pretty difficult to accomplish and all that jazz. I don't feel bad for criticizing the choice to not do that, though, where it's just like, hey, so, like, again, just, I don't know, finish the game. I don't know. And yeah, it is a very indie core choice to be like, we're gonna subvert this whole thing. We're just gonna do, like, they're never gonna see that shit coming. They're gonna be like, whoa, but unfortunately there is a level of whoa that is like, whoa, stop, whoa. Why add a story to a roguelike or use it as a medium if you're not gonna commit? Yeah. Yep. I'm trying to think of any other game. Not even having played it myself, I could swear that there was a mention of, like, Nier Automata. I guess automaton. No, automaton would not pluralize to automata. That'd be like automatum or something, you know? But anyway, but, like, I'm trying to think of any game where they just fully rug pull you for the finale. The only ones I can think of are, like, scripted endings. Like, you know, hopefully I would imagine this wouldn't be a spoiler to anybody, but, like, Final Fantasy VII, for example, it's the same. Final Fantasy VII and 10 both have, like, final bosses in the sense of, like, oh, it's a weird encounter that's basically scripted, but it's like, oh, the one before that was the actual final boss. Automata is the plural of automaton. Okay, all right. I'm thinking of, like, data, like datum data. So I wasn't sure if ON also pluralized in the same way. But yeah, I don't know. I literally don't know a single thing about Nier Automata or whatever, other than there's the robot everybody wants to enjoy. The internet loves the robot. Or the cyborg. Or whatever. Does data end with O-N, Rick? Datum. No. Which is why I'm confused about automata or automata being the plural of automaton. You can say fuck on Twitch? There's actually 2 robots in the game that everybody wants. Oh, really? Okay. One of them is 2B, right? Isn't the other one like 1F or something? 40,000 results of Rule 34. Yowza. Okay. Pretty sure datum is from Latin. Oh, okay, that would explain it then. If the UM is a Latin construction and ON is a Greek construction, they both pluralize to A. That makes sense. I love Nier, but I don't expect more than existential story from their creator. Seems fair. I think it's a justifiable stance there. Oh, 9S. Okay. Or is it 9s and 1B? No, tube. Also, multiple declensions can have the same plural form. Also fair. I don't know a lot about Greek or Latin, to be dead honest. I wanted to take Latin in high school, and when I signed up for it, there were 9 of us who signed up for the class. Or was it 8? I forget if there were 8 of us and there needed to be 9, or there were 9 of us and there needed to be 10. Either way, it didn't happen because there weren't enough people. By 1. It was so upsetting. Did I miss with Quick Attack a second ago? Dang, I think that's a 1 and 2. I think that's a 100% miss. Nines is a nickname for him, at least. Okay. People do call him Nines as a nickname. All right. Okie dokie. 9S is a young boy. A2 is the other girl. So there's 2B and A2. The number letter combinations mean things. Oh. Okay. But it's a bit weird. I see. Okay. Yorha, number 2, type B. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, well, you're a number 2, type B. Also a Hamlet reference. Oh, that makes sense. Well, I guess it sort of makes sense. Not knowing much about the plot. Because so the speech from Hamlet, if I recall correctly, is essentially a pondering of the value of life and possible suicide, I think. Because the whole premise of that little speech is essentially, is it better to deal with all the bullshit of life versus just not being around type deal? Like that sort of thing. But I could also see someone trying to interpret it a little bit in terms of more Descartes, more Cartesian thinking. The, like, I think, therefore I am type stuff, where it's like being as an action as opposed to a passive thing that you just are. 9S is 9ist. Isht? I forget how that gets pronounced in German. I tried learning a little bit of German and I didn't get very far. But is not. Okay. Just know that there are several characters and enemies that are named after philosophers in that game too. Okay, fair enough. Cool. In Nier, I can think of like 3 or 4. If I kill myself, I will go to hell. If I kill my uncle while he's praying, he goes to heaven, but otherwise he's too well protected usually. But he really deserves it. This fucking sucks. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I'm trying to... I was trying to think through it. I'm like, do I remember enough of the speech to get through essentially that first chunk of the thought? I can't quite get there because it was to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune than something. Eventually you get to sleep to die no more. Oh no, sorry, to die to sleep no more. And from that dreaming wake and something. Ah man, I don't remember too much beyond that, but some of them more significant than others, but when you analyze it, it's really interesting. When he just throws Uncle off Pride Rock like Simba did, like a Pride Rock's in Denmark. Yeah, not a lot of Pride Rocks. Probably some pretty good coastal shoals, though. His uncle never pounced at him while he was on his back. Also fair. Coming soon to the D-pad, dramatic readings of every Shakespeare play. Honestly, we're pretty well equipped for that, if you can believe it. Almost all of the D-pad is theater kids. Like, genuinely, almost the entirety of the D-pad are theater kids or theater techs. Have a good night, Radar. Later. Like, I have performed a bit of Shakespeare. Not much. We had a show. It was actually my first college show, come to think of it, that a friend of mine put together that was a mashup of Twelfth Night and I think A Midsummer Night's Dream. and he called it Harlequin, with some subtitle that I've long forgotten. This was genuinely almost 20 years ago. This was 2007. And I don't even remember the names of the characters that I played. I played 2 characters. Relatively minor parts. But it was Shakespeare. During the cast party, we lined up, I think, 27 shots for the 27 times someone says the word come. That was a fun time. Oh, hey, I'm gonna give you all a life hack, a Shakespeare life hack. If you are reading Shakespeare and you are not intentionally trying to be a bad performer on purpose, like in the sense of like, oh, I'm playing a character who's really bad at theatrical acting, you know, unless you're doing that, do not rhythmically state the iambic pentameter. You don't want to, whose woods these are, I think I know. It feels like that. When you're reading out lines, if they're written, they will usually, for Shakespeare, they will usually be written in the actual pentameter. Like they'll just be your 10 syllables at a time per line with occasional variations. Do not read it in 10-syllable bursts unless that is the very specific vibe you're actively going for. It sounds bad. It's far less comprehensible. And it's straight up just not how it would have been performed back in the day either. That's a case of the medium of the script, not of the play itself. That's the case of the medium sort of taking over for the content. Oh, have a good one, Joe. Catch you later. And you shouldn't, like, to be clear, you don't want to necessarily do the opposite either. Like, when I was just kind of rattling off the little Hamlet speech chunk there, you don't want to do it like that. Like, you want to put emphasis in places, like, you are still performing it, but you definitely don't want to be, like, I think it's not even a necessarily good example, because I want to say that the opening line of the to be or not to be chunk isn't even 10 syllables. I think it's 11, but you don't want to be like, to be or not to be, that is the question. Like, it just doesn't, it's not good. Yeah, that is the question. That is the question. Like, it just kind of, you kind of question. But yeah, you, like, my understanding is that the most correct way historically to approach it, as well as the one that just kind of sounds the best and does and is more comprehensible, approachable, understandable, etc., is to essentially ignore the text formatting of it. Don't think about the rhythm of the, like, 10 syllables or whatever. Don't think about the line breaks. In your head, mush it all back into proper sentence format and don't even think about it, because that'll give you an easier time emphasizing the stuff that needs to be. So not being a theater kid, I don't know when something is iambic pentameter at a glance, but there are people who can see that like instantly. That's always been magic to me. Yeah, I mean, in fairness, some of that is literally just looking at a script and noticing just the length of the lines. But even in terms of, like, if you're watching a production, the more amateur ones will stumble on that a little bit. And there is a certain, I don't think I could pick out like a syllabary rhythm out of the blue entirely. I think there are some cases where I could like be like, oh, I wonder. But like, there's a reason virtually every performance of Hamlet, the rhythm is not the to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the minds to say, like, it would be. I'm doing a bad example because I'm literally thinking ahead to the next point I'm about to make, which is, it would be more of like a to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind, whether 'tis nobler to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or, like you're treating it like just sentences, like just lines on their own, you know. I don't know enough about the history of Shakespeare as a playwright and that era, I guess, of playwriting to know what the real purpose of the meter would be if the performance does not follow that meter, like in terms of emphasis. Like in some of the Evil East games, some special characters speak entirely in iambics. Interesting. I don't know if I ever actually noticed that. It would make sense, because in some ways that feels like a more historical version of doing like the Gruntilda thing, where like everything is like a rhyming couplet type situation. Even I want to say Gruntilda's lines actually in the Banjo games, aside from the fact like this is such a fun way to tie it all together, because that would be was it the three? I was gonna say the three fates. That's super not right. I think they're just called witches or old hags or whatever. But also Hamlet, I think. Gruntilda's speech pattern is a direct descendant of that, because she has a rhythmic rhyming couplet type speech that is basically just an extension of double, you know, toil and trouble, cauldron burn, and something bubble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble. And that whole spiel that is there. Like, that just kind of became... that just, for the last, 500 years, 600 years, has been popularly just witch speak. Like, that's just how witches do. I think the Hocus Pocus movie does it, too. So Gruntilda, with her, like, Dr. Seussy version of that speech pattern, would therefore also be a descendant of Shakespearean witch writing, you know? I never would have known if someone told me, because they don't enunciate it. Yeah, not speak... The auditory aspect of it is, I think, pretty important to identifying that. Like, you do kind of notice that the emphasis of words, like, the trick with like, a strict meter like that in Shakespeare and other, like, playwriting is your word choice is extremely specific. There are times where someone speaks and the line they deliver is not as... like, the words are not as carefully chosen sounding. Like, they're not emphasizing things quite the way that they could, because they're also trying to fit it into a meter. I don't know if you played the modern translations of Tactics, but all the Lucavi and the Alexander O. Smith take on the script speak that way. Oh, okay. I've only played the one little chunk of the Evil East Chronicles, and we definitely didn't get to any Lucavi in that. So I'd be curious too. That's kind of an interesting way of... It does add a quality of, especially in a game that looks medieval but sounds fairly modern in most interpretations. I think the War of the Lions went the opposite direction on that, the PSP version, where they went super duper medieval speak to the point of being slightly incomprehensible. But it does kind of add this, like, spooky, ancient sort of vibe to it. Like you're speaking to a being that is way too old. Like unnaturally old in a way that like makes you nervous that you're dealing with them if they suddenly start speaking in a strange format that isn't in line with everybody else. This cat is just like a lump behind my back. Like she's gonna slide downward slowly, being attached to both me and the couch. Like I feel like same goes for the whatever they're called in 12. What are they called in 12? I was gonna say summons, but that's not right. I don't even remember all of them in 12 because they've got the ghosts that manipulate everything behind the scenes. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of like the actual monsters and stuff again, like a Dramelech and all of that. But the summons don't talk; they're just monsters. Yeah. There's the Maesters. No, that's 10. That's 10 is Maesters. It's been a while since I played 12. I'm trying to remember because there's the judges as well, including I think the head judges. Weren't they called like not judge masters? There was some other name for them, but I think there's like Gabranth and stuff like that. Oh, Curia. Okay, that sounds right. I really got to play 12 again. I actually quite enjoyed both 10 and 12. 10 is still one of my favorite, like, RPGs. And 12 was such an interesting fusion of MMO-type mechanics in a pre-Final Fantasy VII Remake world. 12 was really something else. The Gambit system was a little clunky at first, but you do get accustomed to it. And if anything, there are too many options that you gain access to. Like, it does mean you can fine-tune your team to the point where you can more or less never die if you're, like, really particular about it, but, like... And that's how you set up... there's a build that functions with that you essentially have to set up if you want to beat one of the super bosses in the game. Because you essentially need to get your team set up and then walk away for the better part of a day. I want to say that it takes on average like 18 hours to beat a super boss. And most people are like, use this build, put your controller down, and come back that night. It may not be the fastest way to do it, but it will get done. Yasmat. Yeah, that's right. Yasmat. Yep. That's one where it's health bar, if I recall. Either it's health bar or it used like pips for full health bars. Either way, I believe the representation of its health is so large that it just goes completely off the screen. Unless I'm mixing it up with Nemesis from 10, which is also a possibility. I attempted it once, but then I realized that it suddenly gets twice as powerful at 10%. Build couldn't handle that part of it, so I lost after the hour or so it took to whittle it down. Oof. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that I would be like, I would do it once, and then I'd be like, okay, we're done with that. I'm not doing that again. No, thank you. On the flip side of enjoying 10 and 12, I thought 13 was awkward as fuck. I don't think I'm alone in any of that. I have not played 13-2 or Lightning Returns. I've heard various things about both of them, but 13 was such a strange experience. I technically haven't finished the game. Because for the first, 20 hours, maybe more, you're doing linear battles. Like you're walking in a straight line, doing one battle at a time. It's almost tactical RPG type storytelling at that point. And gameplay, because you're doing battle, do some stuff, battle, do some stuff. And then you get to essentially the mid-boss of the game, you do that, and then you get dumped unceremoniously into an open world setting. And now you hypothetically can go directly to the final boss. You're almost certainly going to get your shit ripped open, but you could. But assuming you don't try doing that, you now explore the open world and you fight stuff, except everything in the open world is a bajillion times too strong for you to fight. So the only way that I was able to find to actually progress in the game was to intentionally go and fight a Tonberry. Because if you focused all of your shit on one Tonberry, you could defeat it just barely before it starts ripping your team apart. And after a few of those, you've gained enough levels to be able to actually start fighting other shit in the open world. One of the interesting ones they did, though, was I think it was the Adamantis, is out on the map, huge, gigantic thing stomping around. If your level is sufficiently low, if you run up to fight it, you won't, a battle won't initiate. And if it happens to step down its foot on or near you, it will just instantly kill you without any battle at all. And on the one hand, what a dick move. On the other hand, I do appreciate the game being like, fuck you, no. It does make it slightly unnerving when you're trying to figure out at what point you are safely going to be able to fight them, but otherwise I thought that was kind of funny. 13 has a good battle system, but it takes a little too long to actually get going and become interesting. Yes, and the plot cannot carry it. Yes. 13. I mean, it's not even like a secret or not secret, but it's not even just headcanon. It's been confirmed at this point. They were straight up just trying to make another Final Fantasy VII, which is why Lightning is visibly just Girl Cloud in a lot of ways. And there's other plot elements that are really obviously one-to-one and stuff like that. But the plot just wasn't very good. You don't participate in most of the plot of 13, which is really not good. At least to my memory, the shit that you learn in 13 is all sorts of backstory stuff. It's basically like giving you plot in a similar way to, say, BioShock, except BioShock, the information you learn is painting along your interactions you're making with some of these characters as you encounter them. And in Final Fantasy 13, it just kind of doesn't do that. I think there's 2 pieces of the lore you get that are oh, okay. But that's about it. I was about to buy 13 because it was 80% off on Steam and then wondered, wait, why so much? Yeah, good stopping point. Though granted, 80% off, at that point you almost may as well. I think it's some variety of the power level of the enemies in the areas, and you just have to look for where the reasonable stuff are. Yes. Yeah, that becomes the whole puzzle of the open world area, is figuring out what the next enemy in the chain of enemies you must fight in order to gain strength are. It's not an amazingly satisfying way to approach an open world situation either, because it feels like you're being made to not engage with the open world and you're just kind of ping-ponging around. And only because at any given time there's essentially one set of monsters you can fight to gain experience, and then there's other stuff that gives you not enough to matter and other stuff that'll just kill you instantly. I remember for my playthrough of 13, I remember that I did clear out the overworld essentially, and then I went into the, like, we'll call it the bridge. It's just a weird. I remember there being a lot of like mechanical stuff in there, but by bridge I mean in like the song, style format, where like where it's sort of your last little bit before you reach final boss territory. And I distinctly remember that there were like portals you could take that would bring you to certain areas. I think one of them would take you back to the earlier chunk of the game, and a bunch of them would take you to different boss fights. And I distinctly remember there was one boss right near the end of the game who had an ability where every turn, to start his turn, he would do a thing that would increase either his attack or his defense, I forget which, by, it was either 100% or just flat doubling every turn, which meant that after like, it was essentially rollout. After like 5 turns, it was basically just going to kill anything he touched. And I couldn't get past him, and I was annoyed, so I was like, I think I'm just done here. So I've never finished 13. There's a through line of 13 to 5 to 7 remake rebirth that has kind of peaked in terms of design. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of how 7 remake and that stuff works, partly through John's streams, partly through other stuff. And it's like, okay, so cool, but we're now kind of reaching a point where it's barely an RPG anymore. It's basically just an action game with levels. Like it does seem like it's reached a point where it's basically 3D Castlevania with party members. And that's not to say the parentheses on here go around Castlevania. It's not a 3D Castlevania game. It's a Castlevania game done up in 3D. And with party members. Not that there's many 3D Castlevania games in the first place, but still. Doop-a-doop. A little swig of some coffee again. I ordered some Dippin' Donuts this morning, and that was an interesting. The coffee, whether it's hot or cold, is served in styrofoam cups. And every now and then, you'll get a styrofoam cup that has a little bit more air going on than others. And this results in your coffee cup sweating coffee. So when I got it, there were little teeny beads of coffee in like the bottom half of the cup. And I was like, I don't like that. That's gross and weird looking, and I'm gonna wipe this thing off. And a minute later, would have a new bit of coffee sweat. And it's like, ugh, I don't like that. Not a fan. Not a fan. But yeah, it was an odd thing. The sweating has stopped because I had a meeting, so I couldn't be attending to it as much. And I think a little bit of the coffee just kind of dried in place, and so now it's just kind of plugged its own pores, we'll say. This is all a very gross way to describe something that I'm still putting into my body. Alrighty. Figure we're at least going to get to level 33 tonight. We'll see how much further we get than that, but didn't want to start this late. We started at like, according to the time here, we started, the stream started at around like 10 p.m. and I think I didn't come in until about 10:15 because we were dealing with like cat stuff and all that. But today's been an interesting day. If I wasn't dealing with so much computer stuff, I would have been able to start earlier, which is irritating, but we'll see how future ones go. I will also hopefully be not nearly as sleep deprived on the next one. Holy shit. I'm doing my best, but it's a pretty tall order right now. Let me tell you. But we'll keep it moving. I gotta double check. There were a few voice actor calls going on Blue Sky that are happening this month. I think they're the two that I'm thinking of are already. Here's 3. It might be 3, but they're all in motion at the moment, and they run out sometime before the end of the month. I keep trying to make a list of voices to do a sort of demo reel type situation, just to showcase the stuff that I can do. Okay, cat, I can't sit like this forever. Thank you. Goddamn. Okay. Oh, my poor back. Holy shit. Oh, okay. We're in business. It's nice to have good posture, but it really doesn't feel great after after hours of sitting awkwardly on the couch. Ah, she's just getting up and going. Even better, even easier. I'm bummed because I'm looking forward to sleep tonight, but I have a meeting at 9 a.m. bright and early. I had a 9 a.m. meeting today that got canceled at like 8:50. I get a 9 a.m. meeting tomorrow that I believe is a planning meeting for something that I'm going to be in charge of, ultimately. So I have to be like on the ball for that. And then Wednesday, I have a 9 a.m. meeting. Hey, happy 11 hours. A 9 a.m. meeting that's like it's just our team stand-up, so that's not like a huge thing, but the downside to working... to being an American working for a European company is all of my meetings are at the start of the day. All of them, always. There have definitely been a handful of days here and there where it's like meeting, lunch, one more meeting, and then I'm free, and it's like, oh god. Dungeon Crawler card game spin-off of Vampire Survivors comes out tomorrow. If it's as addictive as the first game, we're going to be in for a good time. I keep kind of bouncing off of Vampire Survivors. I don't know why. I think, honestly, actually, no, I think I do know why. Because I've played a pair of Vampire Survivor clones before actually stumbling across Vampire Survivor. I didn't know what Vampire Survivor was when I played essentially 2 games that are the exact same as Vampire Survivor. Actually, it might have only been one, but it was one that there's tons of ads for on mobile games. It's one where there's like tall rectangular prism-like things that you can run, like 3D type things. So like you run up them, you jump off them, that sort of deal. Is it still on my phone? Actually, let me see. Let me see if I can find this real quick. None of those. None of those. Oh, hilarious! The game is literally called Monster Survivors. Is the one that I have played before. So unfortunately, by the time I got to Vampire Survivor or Survivors, I don't know if it's singular or plural, but it was definitely not the first one that I got to, and the gameplay loop is like a little bit dry by comparison. It might seem weird and simplistic compared to what it spawned. Yeah. Not in like a crazy way, but it is a little more simplistic. What surprises me the most, for a game that has become as big as that one has, there's some interesting choices as to the art and like user interface consistency and coherence. Like, it definitely feels like a game that was made by somebody for a game jam, but it's been around for a while and it's not been updated enough to get past that. One of the weird ones is I think that the main vampire art in game, I I'm trying to remember if it's... Oh, excuse me. I'm trying to remember if it's done up as pixel art or if it just feels like it's pixel art. Still like it, though, mostly because it has crazy amount of actual content in there. Yeah, no, I mean, like, it's not... It doesn't change how the gameplay works, and I certainly don't have any complaints about the gameplay. But it was just interesting to me, like... I can't even think of a good comparison of, like, oh, this is a super popular thing, but the execution of it is, like... not just simple, but also messes a few things up in its simplicity. But not in, enough of a way to tank the game, right? It would be like if Flappy Bird had, like, a weird visual glitch and it just stayed broken forever. You're like, oh, okay, well... a good example of that actually happening... I want to say in Mario Kart Tour, the one that was the like mobile-based AR game, I believe that one of the race cars has a dead pixel in its model somehow, and I want to say that it even like translates into actual races, which is so weird. The other good thing about not having the camera on tonight is nobody can see when I'm rubbing my face a little bit. Just for fun. Just for fun. Alright. Here you go. I should actually, like, sit up now that the cat is... This couch has been interesting as an adjustment so far. I do like it better than the old couch for sure. But there are some easy pitfalls that would result, if unchecked, in this couch being much like the last one. One big one is these cushions are both removable and unzippable, so we can clean the insides and all, like, wash them essentially, and also move them around. Excuse me, which means we can, like, switch the cushions on which seat, flip them over, all that stuff. Be careful, there are spikes on your face. Yeah, right. Okay, there we go. Now we're both comfortable and sitting up reasonably well. This should last us about 7 minutes. Oh, man. Yeah, no, I'm like doing my best, but holy cow, I am more tired than I thought I would be. That's all right. We'll keep pushing. I think we got the better part of an hour in us at least still. This one's probably going to ultimately be on the shorter side for these, but that's okay. One of these days, I may actually make a Cacnea VTube rig just for the sake of having something that moves around a little bit. I don't know that I'd necessarily want to make it respond fully to, like, camera input visuals for the sake of animation, but no, that's completely fine. But I could at least have it be based off of like audio, right? Like if it's going off my mic input, then it can like do stuff with that. But I do not know much about VTube rigs. I do now know people who do VTube rigs enough that I could get some pointers, thanks to the Mario Party side of stuff. Hello, C-Dude. Hello, hello. We are doing great, actually, and not tired at all. Not even a little bit of being tired. We're doing great. Whoops, I didn't... Oh, my God. Yeah, now its defense is down. Now it won't know what's gonna hit it. Oh, it was Hyper Fang. Part of me is trying to do the math really fast on what 33 cubed is. It'd be 27 times 1331. Oh, I might actually be able to do this. 35,947? Ah, 37. Fuck, I was so close. 35,937. I was like, oh, well, how many experience points do I actually need? What is the number? If you want one that doesn't respond to camera input, then it'd probably be easier to ping tube. That's probably fair. Excusez-moi. I literally had a Red Bull during this stream and most of my coffee, and I'm still like, ugh. I think the thing that would help speed this up in order to get it to be a year or less would involve like random afternoon type streams here and there, which I would love to do. And I think, but I don't think it's very likely. This idea came about when I was still unemployed and was looking for something a little bit beefier to do as kind of recurring content and all of that jazz. Recurring streams, and also one that'd be like low brain intensity so that I could focus on chat or like just kind of ideate a little bit. Just hang out, chill, podcast it up. And then I got a job between streams 1 and 2. Ooh, excuse me. And that changed the calculus a little bit. I gotta finish the new merch. I've got new merch stuff that's gonna be coming pretty soon. Looking forward to putting that together. There's also gonna be an announcement about a very special other thing as a celebration of the D-Pad's milestones over the past handful of months. Hopefully coming tomorrow. I'm gonna do everything in my power to make it happen tomorrow, because the first phase of that has kind of an end date. So we got to move on that kind of fast, but I'm going to do my best. All right. Let's get back. We only have 3 Hyper Fangs. All right. Let's go see Mom. Oh, man. All right. I wonder. So I'm gonna do some math real quick here. Okay. The last level will be 29,701 experience points. Chaka. Why is this acting so weird? There we go. I'm like trying to type something in and figure stuff out at the same time as like a bunch of other stuff. But divided by, let's go with 50.6 seems fine. Whew. So the amount of time it will take to get from level 99 to level 100 is about 10 hours. There's a part of me, I mean, for starters, the final stream we do of this will be level 99 to level 100 in one sitting. I will commit to a 10-hour stream to get us that final thing. There's a part of it that was like, could I justify making a marathon stream type thing from, like, say, level 95 forward? But the amount of experience is enough where, like, that would be easily longer than 2 full days. So it's like, oh no, we're not gonna do that. Scotland was good. Whoops. Scotland was a very good time. I would say that Inverness is a wonderful time, and if you like the countryside, if you like beautiful sights, if you like walking along a river, any of these things, if you like castles nearby, not in Inverness, please, then, you know, Inverness is the place for you. Edinburgh, I would say, is a good place to go if you have a specific reason you want to be there. Otherwise, it is basically like city walk type stuff, except that it's a much older city. Like, I got huge Boston vibes out of it. It is close to Boston in a lot of different ways, to be honest. Would that stream then also be beating the rest of the game? Yes, because I think beating the rest of the game would take less than a normal stream's amount of time, but I think the idea would be starting the stream at level 99, getting to 100, finishing the game in one go. And honestly, that will be pretty fast, because it's not like we're going to need to grind for anything, so we can just walk straight through everything, one-hit kill whatever we want. Strats won't be able to receive experience anymore, so that dialogue won't be in the thing anymore. But yeah, so like realistically, the final stream is probably going to be more like 12 hours. So I will have to choose, you know, carefully how I manage that, but I think we'll just find a weekend and make it work. Alright. The cat has returned. Alrighty. Let's get up here. Alright, we need to we need to name these grass patches. We got a lot of time left, but we should really name them. Maybe that can be one of the questions later on, is what the grass patch, you know, what each of the grass patches will be named. Alright. Do. A little DP0 to get through the night. I don't know why, but it feels like Dr. Pepper has become so much more popular in the last, like, 3 years. Not really sure why that is the case, but I'm cool with that. Oh, but yeah, other Scotland stuff. We checked out Urquhart Castle. Amazing time. Urquhart Castle, or Urquhart, I think, Castle is on Loch Ness. Great piece of history. We went to Inverness Castle as well, which is the basis. I don't even know how to describe this, but there was... So it's the basis for the castle in Macbeth, with Macbeth as a character also being an amalgam of I think, Lord Macbeth, and then another person as well in the real world. Might have been Donald or something. But yeah, don't go to Inverness Castle. It's a castle on a hill, the Macbeth one. Don't go to it. It's a tourist trap. There's a bunch of bullshit going on there. We are the spirits of the Highlands. Carry us with you. We go to the past as well as the future. And Scotland produces these things of stone and metal and wool and textile and industry, etc., etc., etc. It was very weird, very strange. Seemed like it was geared towards 6-year-olds, specifically. So, you know, skip Inverness Castle. Skip, you know, Castle Macbeth. We also did a museum-type thing aboard the HMY Britannia, which was generally fine. One of the levels of the tour was the gold level, which was full of like all the sitting rooms and stuff, which was not very interesting. Especially when they're like, in this room, Queen Elizabeth entertained the likes of Bill Clinton. And like, oh, that's and then names off a couple names, so and so, and also, who was the? Also Ronald Reagan, and it's like, ooh, we're not getting better here. Oh, there was a third name that was in there that was like, okay, time to go. And oh shit. Oh, I can't remember. My brain is mush right now. Oh yes, because it was like, oh, Bill Clinton, and oof, and Ronald Reagan, oof, and I've already forgotten the third one that I just fucking mentioned. And then they mentioned Margaret Thatcher, and it's like, oh no. HMY equals His Majesty's Yacht. I believe, so H being his or her, in this case, but yeah, I believe it is Her Majesty's Yacht. Because it was Queen Elizabeth II's yacht, essentially. The HMY Britannia. Had sitting rooms, had tea rooms, had a bunch of stuff going on. Also some secret stuff that we didn't get to find out about at all. I think it was retired in 1993. But you can walk all through it and all that stuff, and it's interesting, I suppose. Ooh. STRATS. Wasn't sure whether the gendering would update with the current crown. I don't know, to be dead honest. Like, the boat was retired while Elizabeth was still queen. So I don't know. I would assume that in normal circumstances, you do follow the gender of the current royal, you know, which is an assumption, but I don't know. In fairness, I feel like a lot of things that are, you know, His Majesty's blank, Her Majesty's blank, they would probably just keep using once they were no longer king or queen anyway. But I do not know. I do not know. Oh, STRATS, buddy, no. Here we go. We're pushing through, baby. Do 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 do. Also, don't forget, folks, that you can vote on our question of the day, our question of the stream, by using those D points in the chat. All right. Woof, I'm struggling a little bit right now. I'm actively, like, fighting off falling asleep, so we'll do our best to get through to level 33, and then that's probably what we'll call it. Like, I'm finding myself, you know, fading a little bit here and there. Not every pause is that. Sometimes I'm just taking a second to, like, adjust in my seat or check something or whatever. Yo, Shell! Oh, shit! Hello. Well, what an interesting time to pop in. Hello, 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 Shell and Raiders. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have not done Gen 2 starter yet. No, we have not. The questions we've done so far are Gen 1 version, Gen 4 starter, Gen 6 version, and now Gen 7 version. It's mostly been versions, actually. Playing Pragmata. How are you enjoying it? Or Pragmata? How is it so far? I've heard pretty good things. I'm like half interested in it. It's so odd, but yeah, awesome. Excellent. Pragmata is correct? Alright. I always feel like doing the like flat anglicized versions of syllable stuff always feels a little bit, oh, they say it in game. Okay, cool. I mean, that makes it real easy then. Most of the time. Sometimes games definitely don't have a consistent pronunciation throughout, which if your characters who are based out of multiple areas in the game that are coming together where like dialects would actually do that, then like no big deal. But there's definitely been games I've played where like, oh, that should be consistent between those and they're not doing it. Oops. Alright. Excuse me. Tonk has wandered off again. Every time Tonk wanders off, I get to be a little bit more comfy in my seat. Huzzah. Okay. Rip. There we go. Oh, man. I do need to figure out how to make this couch a little bit comfier. It is generally quite comfy, but for streaming, it's a little tough for long stretches. Not in like a painful way at all. Like I think the old couch was one where long stretches it actually started to feel uncomfortable after a while. This one's more just a matter of like just finding a comfy spot to like really, settle in. It's a little bit tough with this one. Aligned towards Pragmata, but I will attempt to rewire my brain. Hope your trip went well. Yeah, no, it was quite good. Urquhart Castle was fantastic out on Loch Ness. Loch Ness itself is gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Everything in Scotland is beautiful. We went to Inverness Castle, which is the basis for the castle in Macbeth. And it's a total tourist trap. Don't do it. By the way, it's April 21st, right? Smack dab in the middle of spring. Comfiest time of the year, theoretically. My heat just turned on right now. Uh-oh. Ours turned on earlier today, but it hasn't been on in, I think, a few hours. We got an oil delivery either today or yesterday. And holy Christ, was that a lot of dollars. Thanks to all of the shit going on that we caused in the Middle East. Great job, Trump. Thanks for that. Filling up our Granby tank, I believe cost about $500, which would normally in the winter be really bad because that's like 3 to 4 weeks of oil. But this historically is when we get our last oil delivery until the winter, or at least until the fall. So that 500 will stretch for sure. But last week was so summery and now it's downright wintry. What I wouldn't give for a bit of gradual consistency. It was such a bummer to leave from Massachusetts during like 40s, 50s, kind of wet, kind of windy weather. Go to Scotland where it was 40s, 50s, kind of windy, kind of wet weather, and return to Massachusetts in 40s to 50s, kind of windy, kind of wet weather. Meanwhile, while we were gone, like every single day was like mid to upper 70s, even 80s, sunny, beautiful, and we're like, God damn it, of course this is the week that we're not around. Ugh. If only. If only. Whoops. We'll do that. Quick attack. Alright, but we are approaching the 1/3 point for levels, which is not even remotely close to 1/3 of the experience points. We are currently a little over a 30th of the way through our experience points. And that's the real thing that we're kind of measuring here. And down goes another Pidgey. Sweet. But yeah, we're gonna aim for level 33. Let's see. We need 1,000 experience points, and we're getting about 50 per minute. So yeah, it's probably gonna be about 20 more minutes there. We'll basically be wrapping up pretty close to when we hit the 12-hour mark, I think. Not for this stream, obviously, but just overall. And also, if we're at that, oh, I forgot the number, 35,937, I think. We'll call it 36,000. Whoops, damn, I keep doing that. So 36,000 there. Why was I doing this math? Oh no. Because I was trying to find a multiplier for something. Yep, I can't remember. My favorite part of being super exhausted is my memory just turns to complete sludge in real time. Oddly enough, getting specifically to level 33 was the goal, yeah. And if you step on that, you'll just warp to level 99. Alright. Blam. Okay. Oh yeah, and a reminder, if you want to vote in the poll, you can use D points to pick which version of Gen 7 we're going to do in the Generational Trauma Genlock that follows this series up sometime next year. I will admit I am pretty partial to doing one of the Ultra games, just because, so I played Moon on the channel for Padlock. John played Sun. We did that competitively back and forth. And, like, the Padlocks do also sort of blind us a little bit to the actual plot happening in the games and, like, the natural flow of that, just because we're kind of focused on the competition aspect. So that'll be interesting overall just to approach the gen again. But also, we've never touched Ultra Moon, and Ultra Sun, I want to say Jeff and Ben got like 14... Oh, sorry, not Jeff and Ben. Ben and Lindsay got, I think, like 14 episodes in or something like that before it just stopped. So it'll be interesting to see more of one of those games if they do wind up getting there, and just sort of feeling out the difference, you know? All right. Boom. I was gonna say the Dr. Pepper Zero tastes funny, but I don't think it actually does. I think my mouth is just sad. Whoop. Let's fix the mic stand a little bit there. Eek. Oh god, it's caught on my... There we go. It was caught on my pant leg in a really funky way. Okay. But yeah, you can vote with the D points. Circling back to that. Right now, the current leader is Pokemon Ultra Moon. So we'll, if that one wins, then we'll be playing Pokemon Ultra Moon, the Generational Trauma series. People do hate on Ultra Sumo for making kind of contrived golden route where everyone gets to be happy situation, but it has lots of good qualities that shouldn't be overlooked. All right. Yeah, I've got some grievances with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, not even having really played it. Just, like, conceptually, I think it's kind of bullshit that the Pokemon Company had Game Freak put out Pokemon Sun and Moon in what was evidently an unfinished state, given they followed it so fast with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, like the next year. Just take the extra time and get it right the first time. Or, like, they were deciding that the third game format just wasn't going to fly anymore. Something they already sorted out with Black and White. But then their answer was, okay, rather than do a third version or a sequel, we'll just do the same game again. It's like, wait, huh? It's very, very weird. I also don't know how I feel about the whole Team Rainbow Rocket thing. I guess I'll have to see how that winds up working out in the game as it gets covered, but like, well, huh? You know? Not to mention some weird details like Maxie and Archie being... all of the bad guys are like alternate universe copies, not copies, but alternate universe versions of themselves. But then you've also got Archie and Maxie, who specifically do not look like the Gen 3 remake versions of themselves. They look like the original versions of themselves, which is just kind of odd. I don't know. Something feels a little bit iffy about that. It's actually one of the coolest parts of the game, in my opinion, not because it has a good plot, but it's just fun to have a more detailed, or a really detailed dungeon with a ton of boss fights, you know? Alright, I mean, that is fair. And, like, I haven't seen it in execution yet, so my mind may change on that once I've actually seen it in action. I suppose we'll see. Okay. Strats. Oh yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna like basically hop directly into bed. It's gonna be so nice. I hate to keep. I'm sorry that I keep bringing it up. I feel bad because I feel like it looks or sounds like I'm just not enjoying myself, which isn't the case. I actually am enjoying myself with this. Like, it's just a fascinatingly, like, weird mathy thing to do, but... yeah, Big EP has consumed me pretty hard. I've also got a meeting in 8 hours, so I'm just like... It's not like the most critical one or anything, so I think it'll be okay. But I would love to have a day where I could just call out and be like, "Yep, I'm just not in today," and that's it. And like I hypothetically could do that with like a sick day, but I feel like I don't know. I may as well not. I don't know. My brain is like mush right now. I lost train of thought so hard in the middle of that. Do you want to know where my brain was? While I was just following that bizarre stream of consciousness for a second, I think in my I had an image of like a parking lot in my brain and like pulling into parking spaces. I don't know why that consumed the visual, like the imagination visual, the meta visual cortex of my brain, but I was just like, yeah, parking spaces. Like, what the fuck? What? Ultimately, mostly because it was my first complete National Living Dex. Nice. 100 for Ultra Moon. Let me add that. Thank you, thank you. Whoops. Ding. Oh man. What is the name of that? Oh, that song. That's the 'cause you don't know what you got till it's gone. The paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Ooh, bop, 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 bop. Ooh, bop, 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 bop. I don't remember the name of that song because I don't think it is part of the end of the chorus there, but yeah, I don't know off the top of my head. Could be They Paved Paradise, but I don't know. For some reason in my brain I'm like, is that a Dave Matthews Band jam? I don't think it is, but I suppose it wouldn't overwhelmingly surprise me or anything. Let's see. Okay, so the song... Oh, no, it's... What the fuck? Hang on. So, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I'm also seeing that. I'm like, huh? I honestly was like, wait, this has to be a different song that this song is referencing. Just because the name was so jarring. Yeah, the song is called Big Yellow Taxi. And the artist is Joni Mitchell. Huh? Or Johnny Mitchell? Because Jody Mitchell is who I'm thinking of here, I think. Yeah, there's a Jody... No, that is Joni Mitchell. Wait, huh? Now I'm fucking double confused. Whoops, damn it. I'm so lost all of a sudden. Let's see. Whoop. Let's see. Damn it, I'm like looking down, which is, it's bad right now while I'm actively not having moves with all their PP. Okay, Big Yellow Taxi, 1970. Oh, okay. Yeah, the lyrics are correct. I think the reason I'm getting so confused is I'm definitely thinking of a male singer. And is mostly... I think the one that I'm... Holy shit, did we miss 2 or 3 times in a row there? I think that I am thinking of the Counting Crows version in 2002. Because I definitely remember the voice... But you don't know what you got till it's gone. Like, it's that kind of a voice quality to it. And I was like, what the fuck? Counting Crows does feel correct there. 2002, American rock band Counting Crows covered Big Yellow Taxi with backing vocals by Vanessa Carlton. It was included on the soundtrack to the film 2 Weeks' Notice, starring Sandra Bullock and Hugh Grant. What? Okay. What the fuck? Originally, the song was a hidden track on the band's 2002 album Hard Candy, and it did not include Carlton until it was to be featured in the film. Did they put out 2 versions of the album then? Huh? New releases of the album included it as a track with her added, as with her in the video. which was shot on Coney Island, Brooklyn, and in nearby Bensonhurst. Although Counting Crows and Carlton never appeared in the video together nor recorded together. What the hell? This version slightly changed Mitchell's original lyrics to describe when the eponymous taxi, quote, took my girl away, instead of Mitchell's took away my old man. Okay. I don't remember any lines in that song being about a taxi, but I also basically only know the chorus. Boop 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 boop. Ah, nice. Shell with 100 votes for Ultra Moon, while Tonk steps around on my lap and the controller. Ultra Moon taking a lead, 410 to 200. Sounds like a weird song with a strange story. Yeah, I would say so. There's a lot going on there. Like, there are, I would say, more interesting... Whoop, Tonk is right up on the mic. There are more interesting and bizarre, like, chains of things in songs, I would say. Like, you got, like, Hurt, where... I forget who did the original Hurt. But Johnny Cash did a really, really good cover of it. Was it? I was gonna say 9 Inch Nails. That can't be right. Whoever did the original Hurt, though, Johnny Cash did it, and they were like, "That song is yours. Like, it's just your song now, man." Similar happened with All Along the Watchtower, where I actually don't remember who did the original All Along the Watchtower, because the Jimi Hendrix version is a cover, I believe. Oh God, I was gonna say Bob Dylan, but I don't think that's right. But yeah, the Jimi Hendrix version, I believe, is a cover, and then if you're a Battlestar Galactica fan, Bear McCreary also did a cover of it, and the three of them are all really good and really distinct from each other. Then you've got some interesting ones like The Devil Went Down to Georgia, where... Why did I go back home? I don't remember who originally sang and wrote The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but apparently... the original writer was really not pleased with some of the liberties people took with the lyrics and stuff. Specifically, I think the one that pissed him off the most was the like, "Oh, you sit right there, you son of a gun, I'm the best there's ever been," which gets changed in a lot of covers. Especially including the Nickelback, actually, of all bands, did a really good cover of it. A pretty intense power rock type situation. And that one, they like... So the original version, he used to get really pissed off at any covers that would add cursing of any sort to it. A common rewrite was the oh God, the like, "Sit right there, you son of a bitch, I'm the best there's ever been." But then I want to say the Nickelback version is like, the line is changed to something like, "Sit the fuck on down, you son of a bitch, I'm the best there's ever been." And it was just like, it seems like it was specifically written just to piss him off. But it is a really good cover. Then you got simpler stuff like oh yeah, that one is like, that one very much, I think, was a targeted thing just to get on his nerves. The other one that comes to mind, super, like, maybe the smallest example of like rewriting and reinterpreting, was oh my God, I had it and I just lost it. Oh no! Oh, yeah, Brian Wilson. The song Brian Wilson by Bare Naked Ladies. I think it was a Bare Naked Ladies original. And they have like a bridge in there pretty late in the song. It's like, and if you want to find me, I'll be sitting in the sandbox, wondering where all the love has gone. Playing my guitar. What was it? Yeah, playing on my guitar and building castles in the sun. Singing fun, fun, fun. And so Brian Wilson, if you're not familiar, member of the Beach Boys who had extreme like anxiety and depression and mental health issues through like the 70s and 80s, I want to say. And eventually kind of bounced back from that in the 90s. And when I say extreme, I want to say he was in like a rehabilitation center for a while. Like he was really going through it big time. And eventually he returned to music, partly because I believe there was like a pretty huge like fan kind of outcry like that. I think he was also, among other things, unaware that people still gave a shit about him, like at all. So that kind of wound up being a thing. But so he started doing live shows, and at one show he actually performed Brian Wilson. He performed the song that was named after him and about him and stuff. And so he rewrote it. It's a super tiny rewrite. So he is a pianist. I don't think he actually plays guitar. The guitar line was, I think, sung by the guitarist of Bare Naked Ladies. But so now it's so if you want to find me, I'll be sitting in the sandbox, wondering where all the love has gone. Playing my piano and building castles in the sun. Singing fun, fun, fun. Lying in bed like Brian Wilson did. It's a good song. It's a really good song. Super simple rewrite. Not a lot really going on there. I find those kind of cute. Sometimes it's fun when a rewrite would make sense, but they just don't. Not a major example, just because this was more just a performance than like an interpretation or proper cover. But so comedian Paul F. Tompkins has a variety show called Varietopia. And I don't know how often. I've literally only seen this as its own clip once and never anything else. I don't know how often. I think he does like musical numbers from time to time with an in-house band, and they're kind of I'm gonna say they're kind of big bandy, but it's more just like a big jazz ensemble type situation, because like the vibe there is kind of lounge, like high energy lounge type thing. And so he does, him and the band does a cover of, and I think the band is called like the Varietopia House Band or something. He did a cover of Vampire by, oh my God, what's her name? Olivia Rodrigo? I'm blanking on her name right now. Holy cow. But there's lines throughout the song that seem at least moderately like gendered, and he just rolls right through it on that. He's like, nah, we're just gonna sing it. I don't think he changes a single line in there, which is fine. Like that's you know how songs usually work. But there's definitely a few lines in particular that are like more amusing, coming from a, I don't know, 48-year-old mustached guy on stage than from, I actually don't know how old, I actually have no idea how old she was when she wrote or performed that song. Let me actually, it's going to bother me if I don't look this up. Yeah, Olivia Rodrigo. Okay, cool. I'm like, am I just fully wrong on who this is? Hey, 33. Hell yeah. Blam. Shoutouts to the Jonathan Colton cover of Baby Got Back. Yep. Oh God, I'm trying to it's so funny because I'm trying to in my brain get into the rhythm of that particular song, and my brain is now floating back to Big Yellow Taxi. Nope. Every time it feels like my brain is revving up the engine, and as it starts to sputter, it spits out the wrong song again. I would have to pull up the lyrics, I think, to kind of get into the right. Let's see. I feel by the way, shit. I feel Jonathan Colton probably owes a not insignificant portion of his late 2000s, early 2010s fame to, I mean, for one, just most comic musicians ultimately owe some amount of deference back to Weird Al. Not just Weird Al, there are other comedy musicians and stuff. Sarah's a big fan, or Sarah's family is. I don't think she is quite so much, but her family are big folks of was it Alice's Diner? Kind of a classic there. There's always oh no, who I was about to say, yes, Tom Lehrer and the Elements song, who I think Tom Lehrer had recently passed, maybe a month ago, maybe 2 at this point. But I think that Jonathan Colton probably owes a pretty decent amount of his road to his musical mainstreamness, maybe not so much, but just kind of notoriety to I would say Richard Cheese and the lounge style covers that he did are probably a big part there. Oh yeah, I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. Yeah, all of that. I'm already misremembering how that works musically for his, but who else? There was one other one, and I cannot think of it. Weird Al actually does tweak lyrics once or every now and then as well, if it works better for the bit. Nope, I'm blankety blanking. That's fine. That's okay. NBD. I think we'll play out the rest of our PP here, and then we'll go back and we'll heal and we'll save, and that'll probably be it for this one. But that's still going to be at least a few more minutes. Oh man, I'm trying to make it my goal over the next 2 months to be a little nicer to myself sleep-wise, because the March into April pipeline was busy as fuck, and it really, really messed with my sleep schedule a lot. It really fucked me up. Between PAX East and the 15th anniversary stream and the 99 turn Mario Party madness, and trying to pack in the midst of that, and then traveling to and from Scotland, and then not sleeping a lot in Scotland either. My brain is so tired. But even as tired as my brain is, I'm always itching to do stuff, so I want to say I love Weird Al, but I don't think I've heard a new song of his in a decade. That's fine. I like the Jackson 5, and they're not exactly putting out new stuff. Or just binge the whole discography, I keep meaning to. I was a huge Weird Al fan, essentially everything up until Running with Scissors, and then I fell off the train completely Not because I didn't like it anymore. I just didn't keep up. You can love someone and not care about new stuff. Absolutely, I agree. Goes for video games, too. I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm sure there's like Will Wright is probably a pretty good one if you're a big fan of like sim style games. You'd be like, oh, I love Will Wright. I have not played Spore, and it's probably not good, and I probably don't want to. I was like, that's fine. You can still be a fan of Will Wright. He did the Hamilton Poké Medley. That might be his most recent thing. It's up there. I think he's done a little more since then, and I know he's on tour either now or very soon. But Hamilton Poké might be his most recent. It's going to be close. I also haven't watched Hamilton. I really should do that at some point, too. The other day, I thought about Albuquerque again. Oh, man. That is a pretty wild one, and I genuinely... I think on a good day, I could get through most, if not literally all of that song from memory. I don't think I could do it now. I used to be very good at getting the timing down, too, but... It was the way back when I was just a little bitty kid living in a box under the stairs of the house half a block down the street from Jerry's Bait Shop. You know the place. Well, something, and everything was just peachy. Except, of course, with the undeniable fact that every single morning my mother would make me a big bowl of sauerkraut for breakfast. Oh, big bowl of sauerkraut. Every single morning. It would drive me crazy. I used to say to my mom, I said, Mom, what's all with all the sauerkraut in the morning? My dear sweet mother, she leaned in close, and she said, it's good for you. Anyway, I'm sure I'm already skipping shit, but I'm not going to sit here and recite from half memory a 15-minute Weird Al spoken, poetry style song either. Also, my throat is not going to be very happy with some of the louder bits on that anyway. Sleep-deprived Cacnea, I cannot remember, and that is fine. That is true. That is very true. Yeah, the other Poké Medley that brought in as one of the animators, the guy that did the Albuquerque music video. Oh, nice. Very nice. There's been a lot more emphasis on YouTube videos lately, I feel like. Which is fine, but it's also just like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah. But yeah, I think the first cassette tape I ever owned, because I'm an old person and I had cassette tapes at one point, was Bad Hair Day. I had Weird Al's Bad Hair Day on cassette. I eventually owned basically all of his albums on CD. I think I had the original Weird Al CD. I know I had Weird Al in 3D. I definitely had Off the Deep End. I definitely had Running with Scissors. I definitely had... Oh, Alapalooza. I'm like, what the hell was the one that had the Jurassic Park parody logo? I believe that was Alapalooza. I think that was all the ones I had. I don't think I had any more. Like, I didn't have Mandatory Fun or any of those, but... But they good. They good. I do miss those. I do miss the glasses and mustache Weird Al days a little bit. Not that he's like bad or anything now, and it's less to do with less to do with the look and more to do with the vibe, I guess. I don't know. I think maybe it's because, like, I think I probably vibe the most with early Weird Al just because they are songs that are based on songs that I did generally grow up with, as opposed to the ones now where it's just like, oh, he's doing a parody of Happy, that song I've heard once from a movie that I don't watch. I was like, okay. But granted, everybody knows the song Happy, so that's fine. I don't remember the lyrics to Tacky at all. It's not that I don't care about the new stuff, it's just that I forgot to remember to be a fan, if you get me. Oh, yeah, holy shit. It's tough to spend mental energy these days. It's genuinely difficult. That shit comes at a premium. I often feel bad that I don't watch more Let's Play content myself. And it's not even like, oh, but I'm so busy. When would I have time for that? It's like, when I'm doing stuff that does not involve audio editing, whether it's real work or D-pad work or whatever, if it's not something where the audio matters much, I'm usually watching some YouTube at the same time. Just to keep my stupid, probably ADHD addled brain occupied and entertained. Some favorites I watch, like Drew Good, Danny Gonzalez, Curtis Connor, Eddie Burback, Ted Nivison. Watch Red Letter Media. Who else do I watch regularly? Jarvis Johnson, Gold, and Sad Boys. Jacob Sharp. Trying to think of other channels that I regularly watch, because there's a I'm sorry, cat. I just bonked Tonk slightly on the back. She doesn't seem to mind. I used to watch Nightmind and the other one. There was a second channel that's very, very similar to Nightmind, except I started getting a little bit. I fell off of both of those channels when I realized that they were starting to treat like analog horror type stuff as if it was actually happening. It's strange. There was like something in the way that the writing worked. The perspective shifted from here's a bunch of videos that this person made for this idea into this thing happened and these videos existed, so here's what we have to do. It's like, huh? Been a lot of Pokemon game shows recently for me. Nice. Besides, it was pretty much just Beard Bros and HT Bailey for me. Just Let's Players, I don't need that much more. I mean, that's fair. It's tricky, too. I think one thing that makes it difficult, too, is how many people that are in, the general vicinity or whatever are streamers. And I don't just mean like that they do stream. Like, I do stream. I stream 2-3-ish times a week, something like that. But there are folks who, like, that's just, that is the thing. Is they hop on, they just stream. Which is totally fine. Like, that's not a judgment call. But it does mean that keeping up either means tuning in at very specific times to watch live, like you guys are doing right now. Or I'm going to watch a VOD where I'm watching through the whole thing. And it's like, oh, that's a lot of time commitment for sure. Like, there's a lot happening there. Oh, man. I do need to watch more channels and stuff. It's also tough, too, especially nowadays where, like, channels are just, like, folding left and right. Oh, there was one channel. I can't even remember it. There was a channel that I found that I was like, oh, this will be kind of interesting. And then I think I went to, like, go to the channel and was like, oh, they don't make content anymore. It's like, huh? three of you strike a good balance. You're a perfectionist and entertaining. Beard Bros do whatever and entertaining, and HC Bailey's full walkthrough with humor being mostly accidental. Well, that's an interesting. Oh yeah, that feels like. It feels like the oh my god, my brain. It feels like one of those like charts where it's a triangle. Everybody's kind of like on there somewhere, but instead of the three channels being the points of the triangle, we're kind of like in the middle of the sides of the triangle. Or maybe it's more like the Venn diagram of like, here are the things you can do in college. Sleep, study, party, and you can only pick two kind of thing. Have you ever made a friend who was also a YouTuber, but once they stopped making content, you lost touch? Absolutely. I think that's just kind of the nature of the game after a certain point. Like, even if we'd only been around for like 5 or 6 years, I'm sure there'd be a few. I was super pumped to have bumped into an old friend at MagFest this year. Longtime fans of the channel will remember Retro Trigger 64, aka Josh, who there came a point the better part of a decade ago where he stopped making content altogether. John and I were both he was doing Wind Waker voice acted, and John and I were both in that project doing various voices. But not only he stopped making content about a decade ago, and then we essentially only ever saw each other at MagFest each year. And it's funny now that I'm thinking about it because myself, John, Ben, and Josh, and I think Tori went to see a Game Grumps live show in Maryland in 2016-ish. Maybe 2015, something like that. But like we did kind of lose touch, and I bumped into it, and there was a point vaguely around the pandemic. I forget if we actually. I think we ran into each other in like 2022 at MagFest again or something. I could swear that there was one time after the pandemic. But we haven't seen each other in years. And I broke away from John, who was watching the Chip Space at MagFest. I was like, I'm going to go hit the merch thing because I did want to check that out, and now is probably the best time for it. And if I do it later, then I might not. Yada, yada. It's like, yeah, all right, cool. I was like, all right, sweet. So I went down that way, and I just happened to pass by Josh. And I was like, holy shit. It was a hell of a reunion there for a little bit. I think we stood and talked for like an hour, and then I was like, "Oh my god, right, the merch thing." But then I would say there's others for various reasons. Like I don't keep in touch with Max and Lynn or Ian and Casey as much as I used to. And I would like to again. The six of us. I say 6 of us because at the time John and I were kind of doing things and kind of trying to coordinate with this particular thing. But there was a point where Max and Lynn, Ian and Casey, myself and John were trying to coordinate some kind of 6-person thing together, and it just never fully materialized. And I keep meaning to try to like relight that a little bit. There's a channel that I used to be tight with that had a pretty huge falling out. And it was over some pretty intense accusations of stuff. And unfortunately, it fell into the realm of they said type stuff. So I just kind of backed up and away from it because I didn't know who was being truthful or whatever. So it's like I don't know. So this is what the choice I have to make with that. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. think those are probably the biggest ones at the very least. Lost touch with the person that inspired me to become an artist in the first place. Like once a month I'll think about sending a message, but I never do it. Honestly, there's no time like the present, though not the literal present, because at least on the East Coast it is 1:30 in the morning. But I don't know if it's on your mind. Probably wouldn't hurt to try to reach out and reconnect a bit. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit. I guess to be fair, there is one other person that comes to mind, and I don't know if this is the same person that Shell had in mind bringing up the subject. Only because I know that we have spoken about this person and this situation specifically in the pretty recent past. Actually, twice now that I think about it. And I don't necessarily want to out the person either, because the reason at the very least that we didn't see this person as much was because of a bit of a falling out scenario with another person. And I think that kind of cascaded into this person no longer makes YouTube videos or Twitch streams. I don't know if that's actually true, but from what I can tell, that is the case. It seems like the activity has dropped to zero. Which is itself a very spooky thing. I've talked about this a couple times over the past, 2-3 years, but it's eerie having a channel as old as ours at this point, because it feels like the equivalent of being 70 years old and reaching the point in life where you start essentially counting friends that are no longer with you, or people that you knew who were your own age and they're not around anymore. Our channel is not the biggest channel from our era by even the longest of shots, but I don't know. It's strange looking around and watching channels from 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, that zone disappearing now and then. A good example was the video game Historian? Oh my god, I feel awful for misremembering this, because it was a channel that I was very familiar with existing, but I don't think I ever watched a single video of theirs. But they were such a pillar of the community that the announcement of, yep, I'm moving on, was whoa. Let's see here. It wasn't Video Game Historian. What the hell was it? Gaming Historian. Yeah, dang. And I think what made it eerie, too, is the description that he gave, Norman. The description that he gave was that he had been making Gaming Historian for, quote, more than 15 incredible years. Oh, have a good one, C-Dude. Catch you later. And this... The post described, after more than 15 incredible years of making Gaming Historian and moving on to new creative adventures, thank you for an unforgettable, life-changing journey. I will cherish it forever, which is a beautiful sentiment. The image that is there is him in 2016 versus him in 2008. What made it super spooky was the fact that this post was made in the middle of the afternoon on April 3rd, which is literally the 15th anniversary of the D-pad. So watching someone else be like, we've done more than 15 years and we're moving on, while we're actively in the middle of doing 15-year celebration stuff was like, oh boy, I can feel my bones. Uh-oh. But yeah. And it's so fascinating to see. It's fascinating to see who's still around from. I say the late 2000s. We weren't part of the late 2000s. A lot of our inspiration comes from the late 2000s, but late 2000s into the very early 2010s. It's interesting to see who's still kicking. You know. What do we have here? We got 6 more uses of quick attack. Right. Doop. Squeeze out the last bits of experience that we can here. There's also some odd stuff in my mind about getting older a little bit. Not in the sense of like, no, I'm fearing getting older. I have to reverse it. Nothing like that. Though I do occasionally get the little mental blip of like, oh God, I'm aging. But more to do with the fact of like, this time next year I will be a 40-year-old with a YouTube channel. And there's a part of me that is just kind of like, whoa, is that weird? Is that strange? But then I'll like pull myself out of that for a second. I'm like, okay, one, I used to watch Good Mythical Morning very, very like religiously. And those guys, they might be 50 by now. I actually don't know off the top of my head. But then literally today, I was looking up, We Built This City, and one of the things for it, because I was like, what are some good covers for it? And I found, or we'll pause it there at I think 12/20/31. I found the Ninja Sex Party cover of it, which like Dan Avid, and then I was like, whoa, wait a second. I remember looking this up at one point because like Ego Raptor, John Tron, for better for worse, Rubber Ross, all of them are more or less my age. Like they're ballpark, like late 30s, early 40s type stuff. Basically, I think they're all like 38, 39, 40 generally. But then I was like, wait, no, Danny Sexbang, Dan Avidan, he's older. He's like almost 10 years older, I think, than everybody on the channel. So, and I was like, wait a second. I went and looked up and I was like, oh my God, he's going to be 47 this year. And I think he still does, and he's like, Game Grumps is still a thing. And it's like, okay, I probably like, and I've remembered this realization a few times. And it's been like, right, okay, Danny Sexbang is like my canary in the coal mine, is my fair weather, situation where it's like, okay, if he is still making goofy ass YouTube videos, goofy ass gameplay videos, there is no reason that I can't either. Nor is it even remotely that weird at that point. I don't know. It's an odd thing to think about sometimes, and it's just like, it doesn't fucking matter, man. I do this because it's fun, and that's not going to change just because of a couple gray hairs, you know what I mean? I don't know how old Alex and Brett are, but they're definitely in the same realm of late 30s to 40s, and also about as old as the Game Grumps channel was. Yeah, yep. That was also kind of a spooky. I remember distinctly that the Game Grumps were like 2-ish years old, and someone left a comment on one of our videos. They're like, "Oh, look at these wannabe Game Grumps." And I'm like, "Bitch, I didn't respond to them, but my first response was that's hilarious." And in part, if we're being thought of in the same sentence, then like, sweet, Fuck yeah. 2, it's like, bitch, we are older than... We've been around for years longer. We, you know... We can't really be cribbing the style of someone who didn't exist when we started doing this style type thing. But I digress. I think one of the Resident Arc people has like multiple children. I mean, hell, D-pad members have kids at this point. And like I've been an uncle since before. No, yeah, I've been an uncle since before the original Legendary Let's Play wrapped up in 2014. Like my sisters had kids since 12 years ago. A bunch, not a bunch. Two D-pad members are married? No, 3. 4. Jesus. Oh, sorry, no, 5. Oh my God. I'm just like counting up more, and also 4 of them were part of the anniversary stream this year. Sorry, 5, because one pair is actually married to each other. Hang on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my God! Now I'm blanking. At least 5 people. But yeah. And I guess depending on how we're counting it, another pair is married to each other, so that works too. But anyway, I'm rambling on stuff, and I straight up have almost passed out mid-sentence during this stream, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. What a weird, very weird dismount for me, so apologies all around. It's been good, though. You're almost married. I mean, we've got all the other pieces in there. We're not racing for it or anything. We'll get there when we get there. But Poopa-doopa-doop, thanks for the stream. Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for raiding as well. I'm actually just pulling stuff up so I can get a raid set up as well. Let's have a good sleep tonight, all right? I will do my best. I am waking up in approximately 6 hours. Whoop, whoop. Good luck at your meeting this morning. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. I don't think it'll be too bad. Who to send to? Let's send it over to Misha Pion? Sure. They're playing Tomodachi Life. It'll be good outro to all of this, I think. But anyway, that's going to be it for me for tonight. I believe I'll be back into this on Monday. I need to update all my schedule stuff because it's been kind of a whirlwind couple of weeks, so I don't remember a few things and I need to write more stuff down. But that should be good on that front. Wednesday, assuming the 3DS is working properly, we'll be switching back to Metroid Prime Hunters. And that'll be this week and probably the week after before we're back to Metroid Prime 3. What else? Not this Friday, but I believe next Friday for May 1st is our Patreon hangout and community night. I should put the poll together now, though, so that we can do that. Though I have a big announcement thing that I'm hoping to have done for tomorrow. I hope that I can do it, because if I don't, then I'm going to have to move a couple things to make space for what happens after I announce it. But hopefully I'll be able to do that. It's going to be an interesting thing. It's a pretty big thing. But the thing that is going to involve the most stuff to do is not going to be for me to do. My involvement once it gets started is actually quite minimal, which is good. I think that'll make it easier to make stuff happen. But But I think that's about it. I think that's... And then Sunday, I believe there's going to be some more Turok Dinosaur Hunter from CJ and Cult of the Lamb Woolhaven from Felice. I believe. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much. Enjoy some Tomodachi life. Bye-bye.